Welcome to Wednesday Comics.
You are listening to Wednesday Comics, brought to you by rootsoftheswampthing.com, Rainbow Comics, Cards, and Collectibles, and WednesdayComics.com.
Keep turning those pages.
Welcome to Wednesday Comics. To my left, we have the man who knew too much. Alex, how you doing?
You're right. Oh, no, I do get that. Hello, everyone.
And across from me, the man with one red shoe. Garrett, how you doing?
See, what the fuck?
I got
What is
mine.
it? I don't get it. One man with red shoe.
It's a movie with Tom Hanks.
Is this Philadelphia?
No, it's a man with one red shoe.
That's
Or the
the
man with
movie's called?
one... Yeah, man with one red shoe.
My Rayman.
And I am the man who knew too little. My name is Marvin. How's everybody
believe
going?
that.
How's everybody doing today?
Hold on. I want to know what this reference is from. What movie?
Tom Hanks. The fucking movie's called The Man with One Red Shoe.
Was this like his first movie?
No, it's not.
I've never heard of it.
I'll pull it up here.
My Rayman.
Rain Man's in this movie?
Am I Rayman?
I thought that was Tom Cruise.
The Man with One Red Shoe.
Holy fuck.
I love Tom Hanks, but
He even
God
looks
damn
like
it.
you.
I guess that's a compliment. Not
1985 thriller action. It's not even a comedy.
really. It's a thriller?
In an action
Why is he
movie.
smiling on
Probably
the cover?
uses that shoe to beat the shit out of people.
Yeah, it's a thriller, so you can't smile in the movie. That's a rule. That's a rule.
But no, usually a thriller doesn't have a guy posing with a big smile on his face like, you're going to really enjoy this movie.
1985, everybody was happy, baby.
Everybody's on
Yeah,
LSD.
Cold War just ended.
Not in 85, I don't think.
Wow, no. That was a couple of years. That was the last war that happened.
Before we get too much into the show, I just wanted to give a thanks to SuperCon for hosting us.
Yeah.
It was a good time, and everybody was great. So I just wanted to say that up top.
Got a bunch of new listeners and more Facebook followers, subscribers. So thanks for tuning in. If this is your first show, welcome. We're excited to have you.
Hello.
Alex is
Hello.
handicapped.
Hello.
Guten Tag.
What were you saying before the show here, Garrett? Wonder Woman's getting good reviews? What's happening? Or is
I
it
have
what you're talking about was
seen.
the
That's what I was talking about. I've seen Wonder Woman's got good reviews, and this is the fucking last ditch effort of DC to get their shit in gear.
Is it official, though? Let me check.
I've seen. Hey, these people's names had those blue check marks next to it on Twitter. So and
They're
Instagram.
verified, huh? You know?
Yeah, they're verified. I don't know who the fuck they are, but they're verified.
I tried to get,
But really them.
I tried getting verified. You know what they told me? Go fuck yourself.
Oh,
No, they
wow.
said we can't verify you.
But you're like, but the last president follows me on Twitter.
Yeah, I should have told him that. Maybe that's how you get in. If I tell him to get me in, am I good? When does this movie come
what she said.
out?
June 2nd.
Oh,
2 weeks.
Let me go back up.
You know, I want to see it. I'm kind of excited to see it, but I'm also like,
And you got to keep that excitement at bay.
I know.
Maybe
I got Power Rangers.
30 seconds before the movie starts, you can get a little bit excited.
There's no official reviews out. so
yay,
it must
she's
be
hot.
fans.
Okay, let's do this. I don't know.
Actually, I saw there was a documentary I watched from History Channel called Superheroes Decoded, and Patty Jenkins was on it, the director of Wonder Woman, and she had nothing but great things to say. She understood the character. You know, she talked about it for a while. There's Wonder Woman section. She understood who she was. Now, how much influence she is actually going to have on the movie besides WB stepping in, we'll see. But if it is her vision and Jeff Johns' vision, I think it'll be great. From hearing what she said about it.
Right.
If it is, like you were saying last week, WB being like, put this scene in, then we're going to have a jungle mess. Jungle. What's that movie by Upteen Sinclair? The Jungle.
The Jungle. The book.
If then it's going to just be, it's going to be a mess. But I guess we'll see. I am more, and it's dangerous. I am more optimistic now than I was when we talked about our summer movie previews.
Yeah.
However, I have seen more ads too, by the way. Actually, during this whole Superman Decoded 4 hours, all of doing is talking about superheroes. One Wonder Woman TV spot. Only one.
Weird.
I was watching it with my
Was
son.
Marvel in there too? Or was it all DC?
No, there was everybody.
Okay.
It was everything. It was even Eerie Comics and stuff like that. It was talking about the whole comic book industry. Yeah, there was only one Wonder Woman ad that I saw.
That surprises me.
I didn't really fast forward through commercials either. You know why? I don't know if I can say it. Never mind. I'll tell you after the show.
There's a new TV spot where it's like these boots were made for walking. Did you see that one?
For Wonder Woman?
Yeah. And I was like, fuck, that's
Well,
pretty
let's-
funny. It was her beating the shit out of people, and then she's just walking, and you're just like, All right,
I saw those Dr. Pepper cans though.
dude. I got some Dr. Peppers because of that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nope.
I didn't save any of them because I was,
Should I get some and hang
Did
them
you
up here?
smash them?
smashed them.
Really?
He broke
They
his
were
foot.
nothing.
He broke his foot. That's why he has one red shoe.
Nice.
Watch that movie. Tom Hanks. Oscar-winning Tom Hanks. You don't know.
I agree that I'm cutting Marvin off. Wonder Woman will be like you said, the last straw for me. If this
Right.
sucks, I'm not going to. I'll see JL.
But you think that like with
CGL?
you think
JL.
Oh.
you think with Justice League being that close to Wonder Woman that they don't need to stuff Easter eggs into it? Like I hope they're thinking logically, like, hey, we're gonna have that fucking Easter
Make
egg
a
movie.
standalone.
Yeah, leave it
kick-ass
as is.
Wonder Woman. It's a prequel, so you don't need to hint
Right.
at Justice League at all. Just like you said.
Well, maybe at the end they can be like,
Now fuck it.
they're gonna do something.
Make a tease for Wonder Woman 2, maybe, but not for Justice League.
You gotta get.
You already did that whole movie teasing that called Batman versus Superman. You really think I need that in Wonder Woman?
They're gonna do something.
No, like I said,
I
all
know.
you have to do is make that character great, and then people say, "Oh, she's in that movie too." I'll go see that.
I hope they put the name
But that's not
Martha
gonna
in there,
happen.
so then we can go. How do you know that name?
What's your daughter's name? Martha.
Holy shit!
Everyone in the theater screams, "Oh my god, Martha!"
You know, I love Jeff Johns, but I saw an written interview with him that he defended that in the movie, saying it's too deep, people don't get it. And I was like, all right, buddy.
That's what I get kind of worried about too, is because like Jeff Johns helped out on Green Lantern too. I know he's executive producer or whatever, which could mean diddly butt kiss because Christopher Nolan was executive producer.
Stanley.
on Man of Steel. What?
Stanley. Kiss.
Oh my god,
Mask.
that's Ipkiss.
Oh, okay.
Dumbass. Geez, now you know what? Fuck what I just said. I don't know.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Stanley
Jeff Johns
Butt
helped out with Green Lantern, but I think that was like, because he was still full into comics.
Yeah.
I think that was like just a name thing alone. They're like, they'll tell him Jeff Johns is working on this. They'll get excited for it.
Right.
He brought Green Lantern back. And
I saw Jeff Johns was on.
And then
I
they
think-
burnt him. Hey, you brought him back and then killed him, if that were true.
I read a Newsarama article that Jeff Johns helped out on the Blade series, like TV series, and that he thought it was amazing, but it like really suffered by the critics. That kind of worries me too a little bit. It took like a little dip in my percentage of faith in him.
But then again, like when he wrote a couple episodes of Smallville, every single one he wrote was amazing.
Yeah, they were great too.
He helped out in Flash more so than Green Arrow. He helped out in Supergirl at all? Not really. Was it just Flash?
Probably
I'm not
told them
sure.
to call it Kryptonian and not Kryptonese, so.
Holy fuck! Don't even. God damn it! Why'd you say
Oh, two
that?
things before we move on here. I did see they had some screenshots of, and usually I don't look, but I was curious, of Aquawoman, of Mara's costume.
So
And
that.
Oh, it's like way
Amber
different.
Heard.
Yeah, it's like
Oh, yeah.
it's like very straight from the comics, which I don't need it to be, but the colors I need to be, and the colors are great.
Vibrant green.
Yeah,
I didn't see the vibrant green. I saw the darkened out colors.
No, that's from Justice League. You didn't see the new one then. I'll show
Okay.
you.
And so I saw the. You're right. I must have seen just JL.
Justice League. That's what I mean. Like Justice League, it looked faded out, but in this Aquaman, it looked
Colorful.
colorful. And then also they released the trailer. Have you watched it for Black Lightning for the new CW?
I
show?
did watch that. I'm excited.
I think it looks pretty good.
Except I saw. Well, it's not a bad thing. It's not going to be part of the Arrowverse as of yet.
Well, it looks nice. She looks good in that outfit.
Yeah, it's separated. They'll connect them to Supergirl.
Right, because like they're filming in Atlanta for Black Lightning.
Are they?
Everything else is
I'm
in
pretty sure it's
Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Nope, I read it
They're
today.
using the same sets as Flash. Did you watch the trailer?
I did see the trailer.
It's the same set.
They said they're filming in Atlanta. That's what the president of CW said. Is that's why it's not going to be part of Arrowverse. Is because they're all filming in Vancouver and they're down in Atlanta filming. That's what the article said from CW. Literally off CWTV.com.
I saw something different saying they're reusing the sets from Flash. That's why in the pilot,
I remember that high school. That's the same high school that Flash fought that Iron Jaw dude. Fucker.
I need to watch
The
that
jock
show.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I need to watch that show. Flash.
It's amazing. Fuck. Did you watch this week's episode?
I haven't watched it yet.
Holy fuck. This show.
That's what I heard. I heard that on
Oh, man.
Rainbow Comics was on their show today. By the way, also, go to rainbowcomicsandcards.com. No, go to their Facebook page, facebook.com/rainbowcomicsandcards. I was on their show twice this week, so go on there and see it. But we talked about it in the show. They talked about The Flash, and I was like, I haven't seen it yet. But they said, also, everybody said it was great. Don't you own The Flash?
Yes.
And you haven't
on
seen it.
Netflix. Yeah.
And it's on Netflix. You have two different ways you can watch it: Blu-ray or Netflix streaming.
And
And
great
yes,
news
watch
about
it.
all CW superhero shows. A week after the finale airs, they put the whole season up now. That's the new
Riverdale's
deal
gonna be
they
up
have
tomorrow.
for Netflix. Yeah.
I got to catch up on Riverdale.
But here's a
What?
shocker for you. For my birthday, I
That's not a
asked for Civil War, and I have yet to watch Civil War.
That's not a shocker for me
How's that not a shocker?
because you haven't watched Flash and you have that for like 2 years.
That's true.
Brought to you by rootsoftheswampthing.com, your definitive online source for all things Swamp Thing, featuring news, reviews, and a comprehensive chronology of the Swamp Thing. All in Files #1 is currently sold out. Issue 2 is in production. Make sure to follow John on Twitter at DCWorldSwampy or on Facebook.com/Roots of the Swamp Thing. That is rootsoftheswampthing.com for more of the green. Daredevil number 20, we have written by Charles Soule, art by Rod Garney, colors by Matt Milla. What do you guys think? This is the end of the Purple Man. What's it called? The Purple what?
Purple.
Purple storyline. Prequel to the Daredevil new volume, but in between the last one and this one. What do
I
you
know
guys think?
something that already annoys Alex. Maybe.
We'll see.
This is kind of like, because it went into my head. I was like, they don't actually show him getting the black costume at all. That's the cover.
Nope, didn't bug me.
That didn't bug you? I thought that might have been a
that'd
thing
be
that
more of a
bugged
you thing since the.
It did bug me
the
because
cover
I like
thing.
the cover. Like, I get that it's before. But why did
The cover's symbolic.
Why did he have to change his costume for any fucking reason?
He became dark. That's him being depressed
Oh,
visually.
I saved my
Whoa.
girlfriend's life by
Wait,
breaking
he
up with
can't
her.
see, so it doesn't matter. How does he know what color's what?
He goes to his tailor and says, "I'm feeling dark. Make me dark." By the way, in this issue, was it this issue? I caught up with this whole arc in this
Oh,
one.
you did?
Because I haven't read any of it. In this issue, or I don't know, one of them, they had the dream sequence where they show all the Daredevils from all the runs and
No,
stuff
it's
like that.
past issue wasn't this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was bad.
They showed the 90s version, and I was like, I like how in that one, they kind of make fun of the 90s version, but I was like, that costume's almost exactly like the new costume he's in.
Right.
So don't make fun of that one. All he has is not the shoulder pads. Everything else is the same. So
You know how they have that Daredevil statue at Rainbow Comics and Cards? I
Yeah.
thought that was cool seeing, because I've seen that statue more than I've ever seen that costume in comics. And it's kind of cool to see that in the comics. I'm like, oh, that's why people like it.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's
it looks
90s.
fucking good on. That's the one you're talking about?
With the black one?
Yeah.
The silver like sleeves and
It's
everything.
a little much for me. I like simple costumes.
It's very metallic.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind
It's
of
90s,
it's badass.
extreme.
That statue that is on the gargoyle?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
I still love that one.
This whole arc was great. I don't know about you guys, but I thought it was like one of the strongest arcs of this Daredevil run.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, especially if you read the Wade Samney run, it's like there's so much weight to this arc. It's like,
It feels
basically-
almost like they were almost like behind the scenes helping out with this arc because like there was so much plot they used over from that run.
yeah, they retcon a lot.
tie-
They retcon
yeah.
some stuff, but I like that Charles Soule chooses, instead of making Daredevil go to, he went to a bunch of people being like, I want you to get rid of my identity. And then when the kids do it, somehow figure out that's what he wants. He never told them, but they're like, oh, he doesn't want anybody to know who he is. They came to that logical conclusion. And then they do it. He realizes that he can't go back to being Daredevil when nobody knows who he is and still be with Kristen. By the way, all his girlfriends always like die off or like do something horrible happens to him. And in this one, nothing horrible happens to her physically, or like she doesn't get like maimed or like mentally put in a mental institution. But still, like when he goes to her and breaks up with her, I was just like, because that Chris Samney and Mark Waid run was like for 2-3 years, and all it was their relationship. So for me, I was just like, that was hard for me to read because I love those two together.
Right.
And then this past one, you saw like every time she does something, he's like, gotta love this woman, gotta love this. So you know that when he goes and breaks up with her, it's not an easy decision, but he realizes like this is what needs to happen, and like
Yeah.
he's going to the church to confess that he's like, this is my sin that I did this, and he's like, that's not something you need forgiveness for God for. You need to forgive yourself for that. I like the priest that calls him on it. It's like,
No.
the fuck you here for? It's like, that's not anything that you need to tell me about. Like
But then he
that's
still tells him a way to get penance, and it's stop all the crime.
because he's a Catholic who does. He's like, I need something. Tell me a different way to get over it.
No.
That's what he tells him. But still, like now, I think, and he did that part with Elektra saying that Purple Man made Elektra think that. Like, there's a lot of stuff that, like, I think now that makes actually those first two arcs a little better for me. Because
it ties them all together now where there's more to it than just...
Now I see where his headspace is for that first arc. Why I said, why is he all of a sudden so dark and broody again all of a sudden? Now it makes sense. And now the Electro thing was like, oh, okay. Because they didn't mention in that arc that it was Purple Man. No. They just said somebody.
Right.
Like, now we finally
scenes.
get, And so like there's a lot of things where I was like, wow, the 2 arcs I don't like now are actually better now. I would have liked to seen this before all that rather than be like, let's go back to this thing. But maybe he didn't know what he was trying to figure out also, like what happened, which is fine.
But it may have also been by choice going, hey, you know what? Let's do the long haul. Here's 20 issues in. I'll finally reveal what had happened.
Yeah. I mean, the dangerous thing about that is that like for somebody like me, I almost dropped the book because of those 2 arcs back to back.
Technically, we did drop it.
Yeah. And
we got back on it.
But it's a way better now. Like having read this, like you
ever
said.
Since those last 2 arcs, it was like
it makes those ones like if I went back and read it, there'd be way more weight to it. But back then, you're right. It was just kind of like
because it was such a change, and there's no reason for the change. I think I even said that it was like one of the first books we started reviewing on this show. I was like, "What's the reason for the change?" Like, all of a sudden, it's just different.
Me and that's what Secret Wars Cloud. Me and Alex were just like,
but now I was going to say now there's a reason.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing I didn't like about this whole arc, not about this issue, but I didn't like that one issue that was not drawn by Ron Garney, which is like Ron Garney did 3. How many was this? 4 or 3?
I think it's 4. I think it started at 17.
So 3 of them he did, and one of them he just didn't do, the last one. And I thought it was just weird that he didn't do 19.
Yeah.
It made it seem out of sync a little bit, but
I
other than that, I thought it was great.
That 2-page spread in issue 20 of where the purple kids are getting rid of everyone's memory. So in the backgrounds, everyone's face whited out or eyes whited out, and then it's just Daredevil swinging to Kristen's house. Or was it their house or Kristen's house?
Kristen's house.
Okay. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I'd probably give this issue a 10. Because I think it brightens up the whole series as a whole. Like, you don't appreciate the beginning now. You do. But if it wasn't for this issue, you wouldn't appreciate the beginning of this whole story.
Yeah, I think I would give it a 10 too. It's probably my favorite issue out of the whole run, so I would have to.
Because it justifies the rest of the run.
Because especially just for that moment, like that 4 panels where he's breaking up with her.
Oh, yeah, it's brutal.
She's slowly breaks down, being like, okay, and then she gets mad at him, be like, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. And she turns on him like that. But that's like the reason why he likes her, because she knows what she wants and she knows she'll speak her mind. And I bet in that moment, he didn't say it there, but you can tell, like in that moment, he was like, God, that's the only reason why I love her. But now I know we can't be together. And I think that happens a lot in comics, especially with superheroes, that they do that. But I think this one, at least for me, from reading that whole thing leading up to this, is like one of the hardest ones that I've read. I know you're dead inside, Alex, but you didn't like it.
I give it an 8.
Did you read? You haven't read the Wade Sam, even though you bought it.
I have them. I have both volumes of it. I just haven't read it. So I didn't have the connection to it. And
so now you're going to go back and read it, and you'll be like, now they're not together anymore. You're going to see all these happy moments. That run, God, yeah. It's like even thinking back to it, I'm like, they would have moments together. I was like, God, they're so good together. Like, I love them both.
I only read the second volume. I never read the first volume.
And for the record, I do too have feelings. There are things that make me sad. I don't want everyone to think I'm a hard ass all the time.
Like puppies whining. That's about it.
That makes me sad.
It makes them mad.
Turtles.
You heard of my animosity. He almost dropped that book.
I tell you, turtles things, they make me sad. Not actual animal turtle thing. Well, actually, those make me bummed out too.
You mean when they start working for the hand?
The foot.
The foot? Whatever.
They came to Marvel and worked for the hand. No, when big mean mutants break their shells, that made me sad.
Oh, one thing I'm scared about.
We're talking about the foot now, not the hand.
It's at the end of this issue, they say next issue, and I see the Defenders. It's going to be like a Defenders crossover thing. I was like, ooh.
Who is the white-faced one?
Yikes. What?
Who is the white-faced one? That she had like a
hand on her face?
Yeah.
She's part of the hand? Isn't it Elektra?
I didn't think it was Elektra. I thought it was supposed to be Jewel, and it wasn't. So, well, whatever.
I assume...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Speaking of Defenders, though, I am so excited for that book to come out.
I am too. They released some art from it, and it looks great.
For that, yeah.
Those are the characters that Bendis knows how to write.
Yeah.
Plus, having Dave Marquez do the art is like a win-win for
for 5 issues, probably.
It's only 5? Well,
no, I just mean, I know Marquez won't be.
But Bendis doesn't work with shitty artists. He always gets somebody good.
Yeah.
He's high enough that he can be like, I want this guy. I want this guy.
Yeah.
But Marquez to Deodato Jr., it's kind of like, it's a big drop.
Yeah. How about Royal City #3, written and drawn by Jeff Lemire? What'd you think?
the way it started, you would think that it would be, more about Patty or Patrick and whatever the brother's name is, Rich. And then it turned more into the sister and her husband. So, I don't know, it kind of threw me for a loop. What?
She's on the fucking cover.
Oh, yeah, because covers tell you exactly what the fuck's going on.
That's for his books.
Well, I knew that she was going to be the prime.
Yeah. I mean, and then it just kind of ended. I don't know. It was weird. It was a soft and not soft. It was like a hard transition.
I love this
for
issue.
me. It was good. I liked it.
I think it might be one of my favorite ones out of the whole thing. Once again.
Out of 3 issues.
Yeah, out of the 3.
2.
I mean, I think it was a very simple issue.
As it wasn't one of those big to-do issues. It's
more of an emotional
building story, yeah.
He has, just moments of with him and his brother and like seeing how much his brother like pushes away, like doesn't want to do anything. Like his brother helped him out. He found him, was driving him to work, and he's like, just take me to work. He's like, you're drunk. He's like, can't go to work. He's like, what are you going to judge me to now? And it's just like, dude, you can't go to work. Like, I'm trying to look out for you. But he sees it as like somebody else trying to interfere with that.
Yep.
So he gets mad again. But it's just also the defense thing. Like, I don't want to, I'll push you away because I don't know how to deal with this right now.
I started to wonder if, what's the dead brother's name?
Tommy.
I started to wonder if Tommy has become an adult. If everyone that we're seeing, every sibling, sees him as a different age, but what if that's the age that they liked him the most? What if he really was a kid and that's what Tara's like, oh, and with the other thing that Tara was going through, having a miscarriage, spoilers, that maybe she sees Tommy going, oh, Tommy died, in my eyes, died as a child, and that bums me out. The way that Patrick sees him, it looks like he drowned when he died in this picture.
Well, I think he sees him as, they all see him as a version that, like you said, a version that they need for, like, he needs that because he's telling that story of him, like how he died.
Yeah. And
he's exploiting that. He even says that. And he even says, what do you want from me, Tommy? He's like, quit taking my story. That's my life. He's like, I need it one more time because the book I didn't write about your life, it didn't sell. Like, I need to do it again. And he's like, no, I need it back. And then his brother, what's the brother's name?
Richie.
Rich sees him as like an adult his age because he needs somebody to like be with him and like be his friend. Yeah. And he has no friends because he keeps pushing them away. Like you said, Tara sees him as a kid because she like that's really what she wants.
And mom needs someone to be there with dad praying and just being hopeful. So now my excitement will be if dad ever comes out of the coma, who does dad see Tommy as? If that's even a possibility.
Yeah, that's true.
Or maybe that's something he would eventually wonder when he comes out of a coma going, I can't remember Tommy. Boom.
In terms of like this book has been a lot about character moments. And I think in this one, I like the way there's great character moments, but we also got some plot progression. Like she goes and sees that her husband's the one that's trying to get everybody unionized. Her deal's going to fall through. So she goes and finally puts her foot down and say, no, I'm going to
crush your unionization.
And afterwards I want a divorce. And that's how it ends. And I'm just like, fuck yes. Like she finally stands up for herself.
At first I agreed with not agreed with the husband doing the union, being the union. That was whatever. But when he goes, it wasn't just you who lost that child. It was me as well. I was like, oh, okay, I got it. And then it was like the next 2 panels or bubbles. He says something else that's beyond, beyond being a dick. And I was like, okay, you're not just standing up. Now you're trying to fight. And that's like, no, you're going to lose that battle. So then when she goes, I want to divorce it. Oh, fuck yeah. That's what I would say.
Yeah. The art's amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say in this issue, the art wise also, it's very great. I'm trying to find what Alex is talking about. I don't see it here. But I know what I know it's in here.
But it's just one of those things that he goes, it wasn't just you who lost this kid. And it's like, oh, yeah, I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
But then he says a couple other things is like, oh, now you're starting to be a dick.
Oh, yeah. So what are you blaming me? You know what? That's fucking crazy, right? I mean, you had the miscarriage, Tara. It's no one's fault. And you're acting, or are you acting just crazy because this union is threatening your pet project?
Yep, right there. That was the one.
Yeah.
I like this series a lot. And trying to explain to people when I was on Rainbow Show, I tried to explain it to like, pitch it to be like, you should get this book. But really, like, there's nothing in here that is flashy for me to be like, this is why you need to get it. There's no twist. There's nothing.
Right.
It's just a book about people. So I said it was like, if you're tired of all that superhero BS where like, I like superheroes too. Don't look at me that way. But I'm just saying sometimes you get tired of like no stakes, not tired of people can't actually die, tired of like them having the same problems over and over again. and this actually being real people like trying to deal with something, and like every action that they have is going to have a long lasting consequence. It's not going to get retconned in any way, but it's just people trying to figure out life from viewing somebody who's lost it. So like seeing Tommy being like, he's lost it and he lost it at this point. And like you said, that's when they need him. There's an underlying problem that they're all not dealing with is Tommy. They all just keep acting like he's still there.
Yeah.
They're not sitting down and dealing with it all together. I think they've never sat down and dealt with it and got over it.
Well, the closest one was in issue 2 where Patrick and Mom are talking, but Patrick refuses to sit with her.
Yeah, he's so distant. Like, they've never had a real moment together that they don't know how to have it. And I don't know. There's a lot about this book that, like, I read this book and I also listen to his soundtracks right afterwards to, like, get the mood of how it's going. And depresses the hell out of me every single time.
Yeah.
I was just like, God damn. Like, I feel for all these people already. Spent 3 issues and, like, except for the brother's little shit that goes to the bars and gets drunk and all his money.
But like still, you said, if depending on when Tommy died, and I don't remember if we've been told, it sounds like they're still having a hard time getting over it. And Dad's now in ill health. Richie doesn't want to see him.
He didn't even know about it.
But that's what. But, but now that he knows, Richie doesn't give a shit and still doesn't want to see Dad because there's no reason. Dad's not awake. He's not going to know him there.
I wonder if those two are super close. That's why he sees them the same age. And his dad somehow didn't cause it, but like was supposed to be watching or something like that. Didn't watch him. That's why he hates his dad. Doesn't even want to see him. Might be something like that. But still, like you said, something's going on.
But it's not. The way I read it was that it's not that he doesn't want to see Dad. It's just there serves no purpose. He's going to see Terry and he's going to see Mom. He doesn't want to see those two. So and Dad's not awake to talk to. So
he doesn't want to deal with anything.
Yeah.
He's just like, if I go there, I'll just fight with Mom and my sister. So I'm not going to
go. One of the things that I thought was like a highlight of this issue is Patrick when he's at the cafe and Tommy's sitting across from him and he's like, I'd like to live my life now. And he's like, no, I need your life. Like, he's like, no, I still need you for one more. Basically like he's using his journal and everything to get inspiration for his stories.
Yeah, it's like he's not confident in his own writing without using his brother's story as like the inspiration for it. Not even inspiration. Like he's just literally taking his journal
and using
making it a story.
There's another book that I really like was Killing, and I liked it. I still enjoy it, but Kill or Be Killed was one of those books that's like, oh, this is a real life idea. And there's that supernatural-ish, could be supernatural, maybe it wasn't, twist. Royal City, 100% better. I actually like this book more than I like Kill or Be Killed right now. Because this book is just, this is lives. This is how they live their life. It's not, oh, what's behind it? Who's pulling the strings? It's shit goes down. This is how it's going to happen.
Yeah, even though we're trying to figure out like these characters, it's not like there's no mystery. It's just like trying to figure out who these people are, which is just natural. But like you said, Kill or Be Killed, there's like a story behind it. When will we get caught? And all this stuff. Like it's a thriller. This is more just like
something happened.
We're sitting in on their life. Let's try to pull together like the stories that happened before we got into their lives and see what's happened. I give this issue, I'll give this a 10. This is the best one for me so far of the thing. I liked it a lot.
I'm going to give it an 8.
I think I'm going to say this. I think this for me was a 9. Because I like number 2 almost a little bit more.
That ending scene for me at least was great. I don't know why, but I liked it a lot. Where she finally goes there and it's like, no, when she finally goes there and you can finally see like this is the reason why they're not connecting because she had a miscarriage. And they've once again never sat down and got over that. And it's still a friction in their life. And she finally is just like, you know what? This isn't going to work. You still like are so concerned about yourself and not about us, about his job, about unionizing, saving their factory. And he's not even really owning the factory. He's just a foreman. And then she's like, well, you know what? I'm going to do something for myself. So I'm going to crush your union and I'm going to divorce you. And I thought that for a character moment was just like, that was really good for me.
Yeah. She finally had enough. Was like, fuck you. Well, you also got fucked. Next, we got Flash number 22, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Howard Porter, colors by Hi-Fi. This was an amazing issue, I thought. I thought it was a great way to wrap up this arc.
8.
8?
Yep.
I mean, for probably total story, I'm going to go with a 9. It wasn't perfect.
Perfect? That's a good way to.
I said perfect. So you can hear my... God damn it. So you can hear my T's. You know what? I'm a fucking trainer, and I talk all day, so sometimes my words come out funny, okay? My brain thinks faster than my mouth speaks.
Oh.
I mean, where do I even start with this issue? I mean, they start following
Reverse Flash
on the cosmic treadmill. It breaks apart, and then we get to a seemingly, something that runs into him that kills him. The button disappears, and they basically come back to Earth by Jay Garrick. So it's like the same thing like Rebirth, one shot. Instead of Wally, it's Jay Garrick, the original Flash. But this time, Barry can't remember him. Like, as hard as Barry tries, he can't remember who Jay Garrick is. So Jay Garrick, boom.
But even when he touches him, he can't save him.
Right. Because, like, literally it was like...
Because I think he has to remember him.
He has to say their name.
He doesn't remember him at all. He's just like, who are you? I don't know who you are.
All right.
Because he's so far removed that he's like, who's this guy? I don't know who this is.
Right. I mean...
I thought this issue was a 9.
Yeah.
But everything, like, in terms of the whole arc, like, I felt that it could have been one issue less, like, less decompressed. It felt like there was one issue of just, like, filler for some reason. But this issue, Howard Porter's art in this issue, I thought was great. His line work is great. It's very nice and solid, crisp. Coloring is great. But in terms of story, I liked it a lot. I did call it that you wouldn't see who he sees, that he would just look up and you would see him say it and be like, oh, okay, who's that? However,
a couple panels later,
epilogue, we see actually Dr. Manhattan's hand. He says Laurie's name.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, it's
obviously
it's Dr. Manhattan. And it's
when he goes down and grabs the button off the floor.
No, I got that. I'm just not impressed. I was telling Marvin, I said, Watchmen must not be my thing.
He was not impressed with the Watchmen connection.
Who watches the Watchmen?
But even better is when it zooms out and you see Superman's crest and you're just like, and then it goes Doomsday Clock coming 2017? Oh,
November,
yeah.
November 2017. You know what worries me, though, about this? First off, Jeff Johns, are you in it to win it, or are we still in those movies? Because he said on Twitter that he's like, might be 6 issues, might be 12. And it's like, you don't know at this point when it's coming out in November.
Well, he's still writing it, basically. It's basically got the first issues.
Gary Frank needs time.
But that makes a big difference doing 6 to 12. That's double the issues.
I know,
so
but
is that money grab?
He tweeted out in November of this last year that he was working on Watchmen. So
I thought
they have plenty of issues done already.
Oh, okay.
Clearly. I will defend this fucking thing.
I thought this page was great. It really was strong where he's like, are you going to go get that? And he's like, you're going to answer that? And he doesn't answer him. He just looks down. And it's really, he's like, do I still do this?
Right.
My dad told me, like, that's the only thing that he cared about was, like, he's doing this for his family because he wants to make sure that never happens to them again. And then his dad, he's like, no, don't do it anymore. So imagine, like, for him, it's like, all I'm doing it is for them. And now I actually get a chance to talk to my dad. He says, no, don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And now he's like, do I do it? I'm hoping it's not. The next arc from Batman is a prequel. So it's not going to be after this. But I hope the one after that is at least dealing with this.
I thought Batman 23 takes place after this.
No, I don't think so. The Swamp Thing one?
Yeah, because that's what Tom King wrote, and that like this is him dealing with the fact of that arc.
Oh, maybe
having to.
And then 24 is the epilogue of Bane being in town.
Oh, is it? I thought 24 was the jokes.
No, that's 25.
Oh, okay, 25 is a prequel. So I don't know. I would hope that they would at least touch on it.
Right.
They kind of this whole crossover, and then never mentioned that his dad told him to stop being Batman.
You know what a great Batman story would be? And I was getting off topic. Like see him go back out and be so shocked by all this that he like fucking sucks at doing his job.
He gets the yips. Is that what you mean?
Gets the shit kicked out of him.
He loses his webbing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, gets the yips.
Yeah.
From How I Met Your Mother.
What? No, it's a football term.
Oh, really?
Or a sports term.
Oh.
It's like when they put a rookie out too early and they get scared and can't do their job anymore. They get the yips.
Because Barney Stinson gets on How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, yeah. What's the same thing? This issue, what did I say, 9? It was a 9 for me. I thought it was pretty great. But the whole thing overall, probably an 8. Cut it back an issue, I'd give it a 9.
Yeah.
I think still first issue of this was my favorite. I think
that first issue was fucking
that would be
perfect.
a 10 out of 10. These other ones have just been
It's on my list for one of the best
subpar.
issues of the year, that first one.
We've never done that before.
I know, I'm keeping an ongoing list, so when we do it, I'm ready.
Still pulling my hand.
Secret Empire number 2, written by Nick Spencer, art by Andrea Sorrentino, with Rod Rice. So we get the second part of we get number 2, actually number 4, Secret Empire. God, if you were a new reader, how are you gonna get into this? So here's what you gotta do: you gotta get the 0 first, then read 1, then Free Comic Day they put out something. Go get that.
Don't worry about every single fucking tie-in.
Oh, God, you're right. There was a 0, wasn't there?
And then get number 2.
0, 1.
But wait, you got to go get Captain America issue. Read that one before you read 0. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, let's just talk about this issue. You know what I thought? I was concerned, but also disappointed. I was concerned because Sorrentino's art is kind of hard for some people to read. Mm-hmm. So I started reading this at the beginning, and I'm like, man, you really toned down the panels. It's just like basic. It's plain.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, I can read this.
There's
shit.
only one part that was...
And then also we get a 2-page spread of...
Captain sitting on the throne.
No, before that.
That fucking thing?
We get this big montage thing.
Bloodstain.
Telling the history of what happened when Rick Jones is telling what happened to Cap.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's cool. But it's not hard to read. The boxes of text are still
in
order. So that might be hard. It's cool to look at. It's a montage, so that's cool. Not montage, collage. And then we get to the middle centerfold. And it's, this one I was like, oh, okay. We got this at least. But then the rest of the issue is pretty standard.
Yeah.
So I was just like, huh. That's really tame Sorrentino. I was hoping for like the whole thing to be like that middle.
I kind of felt a little bitter. It's like they pulled him off Old Man Logan for this.
I know.
I'm like, what the fuck?
And actually, it didn't even look. I mean, it looked good.
That's what.
But it wasn't as crisp as Old Man Logan.
That's what I'm saying. Like they pull him off
Right.
when they didn't use him to his talents. It was just like, let's just do a standard layout.
We need a really great artist to be on the story.
It felt like that Nick Spencer had an idea for those 2 pages and was like, I need Sorrentino to do it though. And then the rest of they're like, yeah, that's just basic. Just do panels.
Right.
And it's like, no, this guy, like an Old Man Logan and stuff like that, was doing like every page was like that.
Was the last couple pages, was that Rod Rice again?
I think it might be. It looks like
Yes.
Phil Noto a little bit, but I think it's Rob Rice.
It looked like a mix between them.
Oh, no, yeah. That looks like Cal. That's what he did.
So, explain to this me like I'm a dummy. Is this his internal battle that we're going through?
I don't know what the fuck this is. This worries me a lot.
Yeah, like...
That
we get
Either this other captain is now not captain.
Well, I feel like this isn't like a dreamscape that he's like fighting inside his mind.
Is this the Serpent Society? Who is this?
Looks like the Serpent Society.
See, I don't know if this... Here's the thing. And I know Nick
There'll probably be another issue that has to come out.
Yeah, I know Nick likes to do this where he makes you think one thing so everybody gets outraged and he's like laughing and then he'll be like, gotcha. 2 things. If it turns out to actually that the Steve Rogers that is Hydra Steve is not the real one and this one is the real Steve, it'll piss me off to no end.
Oh, that'd be the worst.
That Marvel cannot just fucking do something. They always have to be like, wasn't actually him. We're not going to fuck around with their character. You think we were actually going to make our character have some sort of advancement or development? No, it's going to be he was fake.
That instantly pisses me off. I just hope it's an internal fight that like Steve Rogers, like that one you see at the very end, is fighting through his fucking internal demons to get to
that
who
would
he
be
actually
perfect.
is.
That he's actually fighting back the Cosmic Cube. If Steve Rogers could be one person to be like, I can fight the Cosmic Cube. I have such great will that I can do that.
I always imagine that Captain America is the Batman, where mentally trained, he's actually mentally well sound, if that makes sense.
I think people always compare him to Batman, but I think he's more like Hal. Doesn't give up, always has will. Like he's always the guy.
He never gives up.
He's not dark like Batman. He's very optimistic. He's Superman.
But I'm not saying he's dark. I'm saying that he's got that, like in what book is this? R.I.P. Or where Bruce gets fear toxined and then Joker
forgets who he is.
No. But he gets fear toxined and then he gets put in a casket and he has to punch his way out. It's Doom is the movie.
I haven't seen that one.
It's JL Doom. Marvin and I watched it where he ends up having to take up the whole Justice League.
Faust based off the Tower of Babylon story? That's like from Grant Morrison in like the late 90s.
Or am I thinking of a different one then? Because there's one where Bane beats the shit out of him, puts him in a casket, and he has to punch his way out of it.
Is that the movie?
No. Well, yeah, it was the movie, but I know it's a book. Anyway, sorry. Weird tangent. It's just one of those.
Secret Empire number 2. But yeah, I mean, Sorrentino's art is great to look at, but it's just like, why do they need him?
But even this one, I look at his art, and I love his art.
Colors are great.
But it just was one of those things like, oh, it's not actually as good as Old Man Logan was.
I thought his Ultimate Spider-Man looked like shit.
Yes.
I couldn't tell if it was regular Spider-Man or Ultimate Spider-Man.
But for some reason, he took the black out of his costume. For what?
He looked so bluish.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I was like, what are you doing here? Well, also a weird moment when they're talking. This is just a story thing. But when they're talking, also he looks up and Miles is in the vent looking at them. And I was just like, it made me laugh. I think it's supposed to be like all these guys like looking into their thing.
Dropping, yeah.
But it made me laugh. It's just random.
I think that
okay.
Black Widow looks like the actress who played Sue Storm in the new Fantastic Four, just with red hair.
I think for me, this issue was the best one out of all of them. However, it still is not like mind blowing to me.
Oh, I Zero is still my favorite.
Yeah, what was the free comic book one? I thought that was badass.
That was good.
That was fucking cool. Like, I was not expecting fucking Captain to pick up Thor's hammer.
That was good only because like it's like so like to the point, being like reading to tell a story in this amount of pages. So I think that was good. I don't know if it count that as a real issue though. It's like you know what I mean? It's like here's something that happened before this happened.
With that book though, the whole Black Widow Champions thing, like I almost feel like that's that new Secret Wars. new
I like that
Empire book that's coming out. Like I like it. But I feel I'm worried that they're doing too many different things all at once.
There's too many threads to the story. They're
right.
An A, B, C plot. And
then we got DEF as well.
Yeah. Well, you got to get all the books, all the crossovers, the full story.
It's like, if you can put those guys in this main story, why do you need the fucking Black Widow's training?
I thought that one was badass, though, when she cut her hand. She's like, welcome to the Red Room.
That was
cool.
like...
I wanted to see the next part where she passed out from blood loss, because that's a lot of blood she just smeared on that wall.
Smear from your hand? That was like smudged.
How's that much? It's not a lot.
That's like 12 feet of blood that she just smeared on there.
I'm going to give it a 7.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 7. It's not...
It didn't wow me, but it was a good... it made sense on the route.
I like the characters in this book.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to give it a 7 also. I remember something that I hate about this issue. And I hate mostly about Nick Spencer's writing, and he needs to calm the fuck down. Not every character has to be fucking quippy and like have humor. Narrow down to the people who are... And quit having every character have a moment where they're like sarcastic and like quipping back and stuff like that. And I'm just like, not everybody's like that.
Right.
However, I know that he's like trying to put humor in the book. So like he'll like find like he was that part when Rick Jones is telling the story about how Cubics was Red Skull,
right.
Influenced Cubics, made her think that Hydra was the best thing since Frozen. And I was like, that kid would have no concept what Frozen is.
Right. Oh man, see that threw me off. I just assumed Frozen he was frozen in a block of ice. That's all I thought.
No, the movie
never even occurred to me that was the movie.
She's a little girl, but it's like also she's a little girl who's not fucking real.
So yeah, Rick Jones.
Do you think she's watched some movies recently when she was captured?
No, Rick Jones is just making that a metaphor, like saying that she.
I understand that, but like
right.
it's just a joke, but the joke doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. He just keeps doing these fucking jokes in his book,
right?
Because Nick Spencer wants people to laugh and be like, but if you really think about it, it's like, why is that in there?
That seems like a forced movie laugh.
Yeah, I know. It seems like.
Get all the meta people.
It seems like
I know that.
It seems like when they do movies and they write the script and somebody does a touch up on it to add jokes and they'll just add random jokes. Yeah. That's what it feels like. It's just random jokes. Being like, okay, let's give who was it in this fucking issue?
Probably Ultimate Spider-Man.
Rick Jones was like too funny. Like everything
Hawkeye.
was like Hawkeye. Well, Hawkeye I expected from.
The only character
Iron
that was actually felt correct was Captain. And he even had that kind of remorseful, guilty, I shouldn't have made that decision.
I like the way he writes Cap. Yeah, he's good at writing Cap.
I like his Cap.
That's what I mean. Like, I think he knows how to write certain characters, and other ones he's like, I don't know who this character is. Let's just put jokes in their mouth.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, a book that did literally make me laugh out loud today was God Country #5, written by Donny Cates, art by Jeff Shaw, and colors by Jason Wordy.
Laugh out loud. This was funny.
I don't know what was funny.
When
oh, here we go. Here's an example of Alex's humor. Tell me what was funny, because
when the I'm gonna just call him the God of War because I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
brings the hammer and he's fighting the grandfather, Quentin, I think is his name. And you watch
That was Emmett.
Yeah, it's
Emmett. No, you're right. Sorry. So he hits Grandpa and he goes crashing into the dirt or the building or whatever, and he gets out of it, and you just see the face of the god go, oh. And it's this word that has no translation in Earth languages.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, I'm assuming it was holy shit. And I mean, it made me laugh out
Yeah.
loud. It's like, oh yeah,
It was quippy. It was good. It was a good line.
boom.
Yeah, I guess
I don't know if it was ROFL kind of laughing, but
I laughed in real life.
I was rolling on the floor laughing. But
I laughed in real life, not on the floor. I was sitting in my chair comfortably and safely.
this issue was badass. The only thing I didn't like about it is like the soldier dude is like, I don't want to fight. I just need to get the sword so I can go take it back to my dad. And then, but he's like literally, he's saying one thing and then trying to beat the living piss out of him at the same time. So that like took me out of the fight, but then back in.
Well, he has to.
I know.
He can't go back empty-handed.
Well, I was saying he tells him at the
definitely
end that
But he's trying to reason with
He was
him,
in that.
but he
He
starts.
was in that
he's
second
stuck
issue,
here.
wasn't he? He was in the second issue.
Yeah.
And he came and he was like, "I don't want to fight you." And he's like, "Well, I'm not going to give it back." And he's like, "Okay, I'll go tell my dad."
Right.
I was saying now he's stuck here. Dad won't let him back.
You know what? I like this issue a lot. However, art's great. Colors are great. I like the story a lot. I like the dialogue. It's great. The lettering's great. Everything about this issue is great. However, for like the series overall, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
The part that I actually liked, the second part I really enjoyed about this, and it actually kind of gave me goosebumps, is when Grandpa's got the sword and got the hammer, and he goes to, I assume, kill.
Yeah.
And the son can't stop him, daughter-in-law can't stop him, but the one word that stops him from doing anything was Grandpa.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Well, that's what I thought. Like, he's doing this for them. And then in this issue, they're like, we don't need this. Like, give it back. Let's go back. We can. And he's like, no, I have to do this. And he goes to go fight the dad, the main bad guy. And it's like, so what is he really doing this for? So I'm like, what's the point? Like, I don't understand. I'm lost on what his motivation is.
I think...
Is his motivation just he doesn't want to go back to being that old?
Well,
Man
I mean, he's
know.
not Grandpa. He was this different man that he's back to being who he was, and he wants to.
So maybe that's
have
what
this
he's.
family.
Maybe he's going to go because he knows he'll maybe die, and this is a death wish for him. He wants to go out and blaze of glory.
And so he's going to go out being the man he was, and
That's
now,
true.
Now,
Okay.
now he's taking it back to let's go fuck up Daddy's town instead of ruining Texas and hurting my family. Let's go fuck your family over.
You convinced me. 9.
I'm gonna keep
Sold.
it. I'm gonna keep it at an 8. I think
For what?
he's just getting power hungry now.
Who, the
I think when he
grandpa?
had,
he's
when he had
obsessed
the
with
hammer,
power.
I think when he had
Yeah.
the hammer, it was power hungry. But then when the little girl just says Grandpa, and he stops, it's like, oh, okay, it's not about being power anymore. It's about my family's in danger. I need to go finish this. Either I
see,
die
thought that was
or I
gonna be
need
the
to kill him.
I thought that was going to be. Sorry, wait. Go on.
That's what it was, though. Is that
I thought that was going to be the rest of the series was going to be him trying to get her back, but then he got her back at this issue, and I was like, oh, okay. So what's the last issue going to be about?
going to beat the shit out of that?
He's gonna kill some other gods.
I guess, but like what you were saying, like maybe that's the way he wants to go out, being the man he used to be, not the man he became.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if I've gotten that deep about that.
that's the thing, though. It's not. I guess maybe
It's
it's very
surface for
subtle.
me, yeah.
This might be your book, buddy. You got the humor you get the subtlety of it.
It's got pictures.
Papa's understanding this book.
Words
I think
with
I'm getting
pictures.
this book.
I do love it. Like when you
Because
go,
even when he goes to the Hell Realm or whatever it was in issue 4, and he talks to Bale Grimm, I think was the name, and he goes, give me my granddaughter, and I'll leave. Bale Grimm's like, fuck you, I'm keeping her. All right, then I'm going to beat the shit out of you until I get her back. Papa gets this book. Actually, I like this book a lot.
That's great.
I think Donny Cates is a great writer. I saw on Twitter today that he said he got a big job, big gig. I wonder if he's going to be writing for them on the big 2, because he hasn't written anything for them yet. So if it's a big job in comic book, it's one of those guys.
But
Maybe he's taking over for Nightwing because we.
he'd probably be a good. My only thing is that I would think Jeff Shaw would be coming with him.
Think it's a 2-for-1? You would hope so.
I would say
you got to become like Bendis to bring people over, though. You can't just show up at your job and be like, by the way, I'm bringing my artist too.
Yeah, I've done one series spread over like 8 months. It was 5 issues.
No, he's done a few.
He's done.
He did Paybacks, Buzzkills,
and both
and this.
Paybacks.
I know, but I thought
They're not critical successes, except for God's Country or God Country.
Hey, Papa loved all 3 of those.
I know you did.
Buzzkill is the best. I love Buzzkill. That is probably my favorite of those 3 stories.
But I'm just saying they didn't sell.
I know.
They didn't make money. That's what one of the big 2 care about.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you know what did sell?
Nothing. Your face.
Batman number 23, written by Tom King. Pencils, inks, colors, titles, and cover by Mitch Garats.
Do you know I'm going to say
Gerads.
something?
Geradnads.
Since you brought up that, you know what does sell?
You're so close the first time.
Garats, yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to know?
Red.
Jared's.
Since you brought up that, you know what does sell? What you just said. You know what's interesting is that all comic sales are based around Batman sales. You know what I mean? So their baseline, because Batman is so consistently sells at a consistent rate, and their drops never like really gets that much above. That they have these like ratings that they give books when they sell. That Batman set like a 0. That's what it's always at, 0. Like that's the rating. If something sells like, because it sells whatever amount that it sells every month, that is considered 0. And if it sells more than that, it gets like a point above or a point below. But I thought that was just very interesting that Batman's like,
Batman's par, huh?
yeah, Batman's par. That's what it is. It's like he's
the top shit.
That's the what do you call it? Measuring stick that everything is measured against.
Sure.
What about Batman 23? What do you think?
So first read through, because I read this twice, because I had talked to John Boylan, sponsor of the show, rootsoftheswampthing.com. Roots. Sorry, I say roots. I don't know why I do that.
You're fine. Either one is right.
Whatever. So anyways, no, Marvin made me change it one time when I said it for something.
You did, but I never changed it on the actual thing.
Oh.
I let you say it your way, baby.
But we had talked about it, so I went back and reread it. Basically, prior to my knowledge of what John told me, which we'll talk about shortly, I'm sure, because I want to hear everyone else's opinions on it. Like, I enjoyed the issue. I thought it was drawn beautifully. Like, art was fantastic. Story itself, like, there were some funny, like, Batman, lines, like the Batmobile car, and he's like, "Why do you have a body?" But yeah, by the end,
which made Swamp Thing laugh.
By the time the end comes up, you would hope, like, I know this is a one shot, but you're like, that's it.
Yeah.
There's not a second issue. Like, I don't think that's serving any justice for fans, for Batman, or for Swamp Thing. So yeah, I won't talk about the thing with John Boylan yet until you guys go, and then I'm sure you guys bring that up too. Maybe, I don't know.
There were things that I really liked about it, like the dedication towards Swamp Thing, the 6 panels in that one page where you're watching him slowly grow. I like that. When Swamp Thing and Bruce are sitting in the mansion and you watch Swamp Thing make his own cup of water using plants. I was like, oh, that's really cool. When Swamp Thing kills the bad guy at the end, I was like, okay, I saw that coming, which was weird that Batman didn't see that coming. There's things about Batman in this book that didn't seem Batman.
Well, Swamp Thing made it seem like, hey, I want to
find out who it was.
Yeah, I want to know why and whatnot. And Batman, like, he plays on Batman's sympathy to basically be like, hey, you're going to get me there.
The thing that, and maybe it's a point to Flash number 22, Batman's soft in this one. I felt Batman was softer in this one. That he didn't see the whole big plan that he normally would. And,
right.
Which is fine. I understand he's not being Batman right now. Yeah. And I get that. So when he's mad at Swamp Thing for you killed him, I didn't, that wasn't needed. And it was kind of, Swamp Thing's like, oh, well, he killed my dad, so here we go.
Yeah. And then he starts singing that song.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
If you want to read Jai Boylan's review, go to rootsofswampthing.com and read his review. It's pretty great. Also, I said, like at the beginning, this issue is all dedicated to Bernie Wrightson, who recently passed away, who's a big monster guy, created a lot of monsters, drew a lot of stuff. He's an artist, passed away recently, so he's known for Swamp Thing. Yeah, so he at the beginning of the first issue, I didn't think John pointed that out in his review, but at the bottom, first page, bottom left, it says for Bernie. I do like the way this issue is structured. Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like that a lot.
Remind me of Deathstroke.
Yeah. Also, the title pages for those are also very like an old 50s like monster. This issue was weird. I like the art a lot. I like most of the issue until the end.
Yeah.
And like you said, it feels incomplete. It's like, I understand that at that moment you want to leave me with Batman with that dead guy on the floor and being like, whoa, like what happened? But I'm more like, whoa, what happened? Like, what are we doing here? And I thought there'd be more, and to see that, like you said, the next one's for Bane, I was like, oh, okay.
It seems like an odd choice for like a one shot. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's filler, but technically it is.
But that's what
this
this one is to me, is a filler, and it wasn't.
The rest of it was good though. I like the rest. I like the dynamic between the two.
Yeah,
It's fun. First page, his dad, Swamp Thing's dad, looks like Alan Moore. I think that was intentional to be like, this is your actual dad, is Alan Moore, because he wrote the
Saga.
definitive. What? The definitive
Isn't the saga?
What are
Is
you
it
talking
called Swamp Thing Saga?
No.
Volume 1?
Saga of the Swamp Thing.
So not the fucking word saga in that title I just gave?
It's not called the Saga. Saga of the Swamp Thing.
The Saga of Swamp Thing.
I think he's
He
talking about that Sega game.
wrote the definitive take on Swamp Thing's origins, or not origins, but like a good story for him. I do like the humorous bits where Alfred's trying to pick up after Swamp Thing. I thought that was funny. You know, I thought Bruce was a dick in this issue. At one point, he's done with his team. He's like, Alfred. And Alfred comes over and takes the teacup. I was like, whoa, buddy, when did you start treating him like a fucking butler?
Dude, Alfred was working. He was working fucking hard this.
I know.
issue.
That's what I mean. He's like, he's cleaning up. And then we get this page here. I'll show you. Where
See, I missed that.
the bottom left, he's like, Alfred. And then Alfred comes to take his fucking teacup. He's like, whoa, calm the fuck down, Bruce.
Oh, say I missed that that third, or I missed that middle panel where
he
he's
takes
actually taking it.
And I was like, whoa, when did he fucking actually become your butler? I thought he was butler by like, you know, for your family, you had him as a butler, but now he's more than that. But Bruce, obviously,
He's
he's
your
like,
papa.
Bruce is like, fucking take this teacup. I'm talking with Swamp Thing.
Maybe in front of other people, Bruce has got to act like he's a butler, even though Swamp Thing knows everything about Bruce.
Yeah, I was going to say, he
Because that
knows
was the
he's
thing
Batman. I can understand maybe if, like, you know, the commissioner was over.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing, like you said, makes the teacup. I thought that was cool. A lot of stuff was cool, like, but it just, like,
Doesn't match.
The end was unfortunate.
it was
I
what
think
you...
just
I have a question for you and you. More
not
for
so
him.
much for me, huh?
Or for him.
and then tell me when I can bring the elephant out of the closet.
Mostly because you brought it up on the show last week or the week before, is you said that something has to stick to landing, otherwise it taints the whole thing. And in this, I was like, I thought about that when I got to the end. I was like, that you said that. And I was like, does that ruin the whole thing for me though? Because I didn't like the ending. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what though? A lot of times, especially on this show or just in general when we're talking about comics, we usually say we don't like the way it started, but it ends great. And then the whole thing is great to us. So is the opposite more true? Like if it has a shitty beginning and it ends great, does that make up for the rest? Or if it has a great beginning and ends shitty, does that make the whole thing shit?
Okay, you actually, I can talk about that as well with the series Wake.
Yeah.
You know, the first 5 issues you and I loved, but because the last 6 through 10 were kind of not so good. For me, the whole thing is kind of.
Did you read Wake?
No.
Oh, so you didn't.
But what I think about literary devices. Like, what does everything in the beginning of a story set up? It makes it so when you get to the climax, it means that much more. So if you have a great beginning and then you get to the climax, which is like shit and not, I mean, it's just, like then it doesn't pay off. So you can't make a great story where your climax is weaker than your actual leading up to it.
Well, like Daredevil 20. You said actually made Daredevil better. So the end of this actually made it better.
That's what I mean. I'm asking. I think
it
it does. You know, an ending to be better.
But
A better
it's the last
ending is
thing.
better than a better beginning.
Correct.
Right.
Because I was going to say, the last thing I remember is the shitty last part I just read.
Yeah, it's always the last thing that you read.
Yep.
But also, I think it gave more leeway to a shitty beginning. It's like, they haven't found their footing. They don't know how to write this yet. Whereas a bad ending, it's like, you've been doing excellent, and now it's bad. Like,
Now you
what
dropped the
happened?
ball.
Yeah, what happened? You dropped the ball. You don't know how to. You didn't think ahead. So, like in this issue, I'm thinking to the end, being like, did you not know how to end this?
Right.
It's like you left it open ended. Like, so Swamp Thing kills somebody in front of Bruce, and Bruce is like gets mad at him for killing somebody. But then it's like he just sits like I feel like there should have been one more scene after that ending.
Yeah.
To be like him talking to Alfred about it, or him talking to Commissioner Gordon, or them like showing up and being like, what happened? And him being like, maybe like you said, maybe tie it into that button thing, being like he's off his game.
Well, he did that last panel when Swamp Thing's disappearing. He's like, what does this mean about my father and my mother?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like one panel. Like
I know, it wasn't enough.
I needed something more.
See, now the thing is that it didn't occur to me that this would have been a follow-up to the button.
That's what I mean. It's
And because it had nothing to do with anything other than mom and dad at the end.
Right.
And until we started talking about it at the table, I never even occurred to me.
Well, let's be honest. Batman's not the guy that has his emotions on his shoulder as when it comes to like actual, not like
But
actual
usually,
things.
but when you look at if he's doing any detective related things, he's at least gonna have evidence. There's nothing of this on there.
that's what I mean.
And so you're right. I mean, he wasn't wearing his emotions on his sleeve. So
I'm usually a fan of subtle storytelling, but I felt like there needed to be something more blunt here, being like, this happened because he's not 100%. He's basically shooken up by meeting Thomas and Thomas telling him to stop being Batman. Like, I never got that. Like, even when you told me, he was like, well, this takes place afterwards. I was like, really? I don't think so. There's nothing that tells me it does.
where's the Batman weed whacker at? The Bat Whacker. Oh, that sounds bad.
So I gave it it's an 8. It's not bad.
This is a 7 for me.
I'm going to stick with a 7, and I'm going to just bring this out briefly. We can talk about it really quick. Like John Boylan, he wrote the review that we mentioned earlier. You should check it out. And his biggest concern was that this story was made for Batman, even though Swamp Thing's a guest host in it. But, like John Boylan, he's a huge Swamp Thing fan. And like, we're just starting to get to know Swamp Thing more. And basically, Tom King made a story that changes a lot about Swamp Thing's continuity for the sake of pushing Batman for things that he has to deal with for the next year. Now, the resolution for Swamp Thing, you might never get. So that made me like the story less for the fact that Tom King, I don't know if this was his idea or the editors or whatever, that said, hey, let's just do this Swamp Thing story because no one like cares about his history or his origins, just so that we can give Batman something to struggle against.
You want to know what I said about that?
All right.
This is I texted this to John because we were talking about it for a second. I'm not really bothered about the change of continuity because I really don't know.
Right.
If they did change it merely for the sake of Batman's story, it is kind of a shame. However, I think a lot of these questions and worries about like, did they change his origin? Like what's really happening? All this stuff would be 100% solved if they had an ongoing Swamp Thing book. Like they could actually delve into it and like talk about it and then like address some things about Swamp Thing that's been, questioned or like we've been trying to figure out, especially for him popping up in random books and being like, well, that's different. What happened? And then you don't see him for a while. You know what I mean? So if they had an ongoing Swamp Thing book, which by the way, I want to pitch real quick. DC, what happened to my mic? Does it sound different to you guys?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know what. There we go. My glasses were pushing my headphones up. DC, bring back a Swamp Thing book. Do not put it in DC as a DC book. Bring back Vertigo. What happened to fucking Vertigo? Bring back,
no kidding.
Relaunch Vertigo and bring back Swamp Thing. Take Hellblader's not working as a DC book. Put it back in fucking Vertigo. Bring back, and I know they're trying to do different stuff with Vertigo, like more real stuff, but like shoot in the arm with a little like popular character to get it going and like make it how it used to be. Like, what's that thing doing now? What are you doing with Vertigo? Relaunch it.
Has there been a new first issue in a while? I don't think so.
No, I haven't seen it in forever. I think
Clean Room ended. Unfollow's done.
American Vampires on hiatus.
Sheriff
Yeah.
of Babylon's gone.
Sheriff of Babylon's on hitus right now.
What was the one you just said, Marvin? Not Sheriff. What was
American
the one?
Vampire.
Oh,
It's on hiatus.
Yep, forever.
But it's we'll see. But the thing is like you've been launching all these other lines, Young Animal, Metal, Hanna-Barbera. You're doing all this stuff. And there's a Jack Kirby, like a bunch of one shots coming out. So they're not afraid of like making these smaller lines that don't sell as well. Bring back Vertigo, bring back Swamp Thing as their own book, address all these things, get somebody on that book that's going to do a long run, get all this stuff cleared out. And then, you know what? Like maybe this isn't a change of his story. Maybe this is just something you add and eventually find out that, like maybe this person was somebody in his life that he thought was his actual real father, and then you just address it. You know what I mean? But to have something just pop up and then him go away and knowing that you don't know when you're going to ever see a Swamp Thing again, then it's harder to swallow being like, oh, they changed something.
Right.
Question for you: does Swampy always talk like that?
What do you mean?
I know, not necessarily in the song or poem, but just does he always have to take that long break?
He's kind of like stoic, you mean?
Well, it's almost like he makes sure that he uses the correct word, and in doing so, I'm actually intentionally talking slowly and taking that break, or is that just?
I'm not enough. I don't know enough about Swamp Thing to tell you that. I have no
I
idea.
mean, I realize the way it's read, it's not.
Oh, I see what you mean with
3 second breaks,
with
but
the
it's-
ellipses.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't even notice that while reading.
Because when I read it, I mean, that's how I read it. There's a beat to take in between every single word.
When he's singing, he doesn't do that.
No, I know. And when he's singing, he's fine. But it's almost like in his own, just how he speaks, is there's ellipses, there's a pause, there's a beat every time he can say a couple words and then there's a beat.
You know what? That actually bothers me now. I never noticed that when I was reading it. I didn't actually do the spaces. You know what? So my history of Swamp Thing is like all New 52 I've read. I've tried to go back and like fill in my knowledge of Swamp Thing, especially after we had John on the show and like I got me interested in it. So I started reading more stuff. From what I know and remember, I don't think he talks like that.
I guess
It might be a Tom King thing. I don't know. But maybe he does talk like that. I just never noticed in New 52.
I don't remember it being in New 52 that's the way he speaks. So it threw me out of the book going, oh, that doesn't make sense.
This issue was weird, so I give it an 8.
I think I'm going to give it a 7.
It's
Keep it
weird.
at 7, I think. You know what? And what really carries it to that 7 is Garad's art. What the fuck his name is.
You said it right.
Garad's?
Yeah.
Okay. Garad Nads.
His colors are great. I like the dynamic between the two, but yeah, I don't know what the point of the story is.
I don't know if I really feel a dynamic. I think if he was just the artist that just did a great Batman story.
No, I mean Swamp Thing and Batman together.
Oh, I thought you were talking
No,
about
like when they're in their car and he's like, what do you have a car for? He's like, what do you have a body?
Right.
It's just like there's parts like that where I'm just like laughing.
Yeah.
Not laughing. I wasn't actually laughing, Alex. Calm down. I know you didn't laugh at it, but I'm just saying. Like,
I'll admit,
Smirk.
The car joke did make me kind of smirk. I did.
Like the Alfred part in the background. Like there's Tom King knows how to write a book. It's just that like I don't know what's the point of this issue.
I was oblivious to some of the Alfred stuff. I saw him actually cleaning the floor. I got that.
Bruce is a fucking dick.
That's what I got. He looked like a pompous jackass.
Now he's secluded. Now he's going back. He's regressing. He's treating him like a butler again. Somebody's got to put this fucking Batman.
I don't think I've ever seen.
I hope Nightwing shows up and beats the shit out. Where's Bruce?
I've never seen Bruce Wayne wear like an orange sweater. I was like, okay,
It's awfully bright.
I did like the art,
Bruce.
but he drew Batman with a lot of lines in his face. Look really old.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. Those were the books for this week. We got Daredevil 20, Royal City 3, Flash 22, Secret Empire number 2, God's Country or God Country number 5, and Batman 23. Rainbow Comics and Cards. Looking for comic books, collectibles, board games, or any sports memorabilia or sports cards. The only place you need to shop in Sioux Falls or Lincoln, Nebraska. Visit their Facebook page, facebook.com/Rainbow Comics and Cards, or their Lincoln location at Rainbow Comics and Cards, Lincoln. Or find them online anytime at rainbowcomicsandcards.com. Jeez,
the week of the 20s.
Without my glasses, can't even see it. Let's move on to a segment we haven't done in forever. If you're a fan of the show early on, we call those the season 1 episodes. Oh, no, we don't.
What the fuck?
We did.
Yeah, there's this inside joke that me and Alex don't know about, but you only know about.
Think of an inside joke with a third of the team. Me?
Just you.
Your left brain and your right brain?
We used to do...
No, he's never. Have you done Love and Hate? Marvin, you and I did this like our 4th
We've done this
episode.
twice before. We've done this twice.
Okay.
So he's done it
I
once.
did it once.
Okay.
We have a
I know
segment
that
called...
one gaping hole in your life when I wasn't there that one time.
We have a
Sadness.
segment on the show called Love Hate. We pick a subject and we tell you 3 things about it we love, 3 things we hate about it. This week, Image Comics is the subject. Well, let's be talking about Image Comics. We're going to tell you 3 things we love about Image Comics and 3 things we hate. One at a time, not all at once. I know you asked every single time we do the segment. We went down in a
Well,
while.
considering we've only done it twice.
Let's freshen it up.
beforehand.
So we'll alternate. 1 love, 1 hate. Alex, tell me one thing you love about Image Comics.
Fuck.
Jesus.
My number, it doesn't have to be, it's just 3s, right? Okay, so anyway, one of them is anybody can and may die. That's a love.
Steaks.
Steaks. I love steaks. Medium rare. Nope. Medium well.
Yeah, that's something actually that's... Do I have this on here? No.
It's something I like. It's characters can be gone, can be killed off. It could just be for random reason they got caught somewhere, got killed, or it could be a big plan that event. I mean, Southern Bastards is actually something that'll get brought up a couple times for me.
Whoa, you read that? Spoilers? Southern Masters.
That issue 4 did not see that death coming. The violent way that it happened.
Do you want to say spoilers for Southern Bastards?
Yes.
Tell them who dies.
What happens? What I thought was the main character.
Yeah.
I think his last name was Tubbs, right?
You see Tubbs show up in
Tubbs goes to pick
town.
up a fight at the local bar.
His dad was the old sheriff.
Man, it's been so long since I read that. Marvin, how can your brain remember that?
That's a good book. His dad was the old sheriff. He comes back to town to bury his dad. His dad just died. And he gets there and he kind of feels nostalgic about it. Goes into the town, sees that old bossy boy is basically running the town. He's basically made a mob and he runs the whole town, but they love him because he's good at football. He's good at coach. He's his boss's barbecue. And Tubbs can't take it anymore after 4 issues of, he just wants to bury his dad and get all his stuff and leave. But boss is, it's like Rambo. Push a man too far.
You draw first blood.
So Tubbs goes after boss and boss kills him.
All he wants to do is walk on that fucking road across the bridge.
And so it's like, holy shit, that's just the main character. And now he's dead. So you get to that issue 4, like you said, and you're like, holy shit. What's happening next?
Is he dead or is he not?
And there's an epilogue to the 4 when he's been calling his daughter for the first 4 issues. And the epilogue is she finally says, I'm going to go see my dad. And then it's like, oh, she's going to be the main character. Okay.
I was say, so far it's not even been her as the main character.
No, there's a lot of characters.
Boss is the main character.
Yeah, Boss
Most
is the main
of
character.
it, at least.
Do that Boss arc. Speaking of which, by the way, Southern Masters is one of the greatest image books you can read, books in general. That Boss arc, when they talk about his history and stuff like that, one of the best things I've ever read in comics. It's great. Pick it up. So yeah, you're right. Go on. Steaks?
Yep.
Yeah, I like that too.
You want one of my hates?
No, we'll go the next round's hates. Garrett, one thing you love about Image Comics.
Okay, so this is one of my first Image Comics. And it's a series. This is one of my loves. Cowl. There was something about that fucking book that I just loved. Like the whole idea of it. Now, I haven't gotten to hates yet. I know this is specific to one series. But, I thought that was ingenious what Kyle Higgins, Alex Siegel, and Rod Rice were trying to do together, kind of make up their own superhero team in their own continuity. There was nothing else included. I remember when we were starting to read those books, I was just getting amped, kind of like for Black Hammer, like we are now. That's what the feeling I was getting with this. It's just Black Hammer's doing what Cal couldn't. So
what a fucking shame. I mean, the book didn't sell. I think we're remember, I used to look at the numbers. I look at the numbers a lot. And it was really, really low. It was 2,000-3,000 people buying it. And I was just like, wow. And I know we all bought it. Mm-hmm. I was just like, but I've never heard anybody talk about that book online or anything. I've never heard anybody ever say anything about that book. But consistently, week to week, it was one of the best books.
Yeah, and it was vintage covers, vintage art. I mean, everything was just cool.
I think he kind of lost his way because they knew they were going to end it right after what's his name died.
Your favorite character? My favorite. Detective.
It's so long ago.
Thin Stash.
The guy that looked like Sinestro.
Yeah, the guy looked like Sinestro. Yeah. But after that, you could tell they were like, I don't know how long we could do this. And so they kind of spun their wheels and then they're like, okay, well, we're going to try to wrap it up, which they really didn't. I mean, there's a lot of open-ended questions and a lot of possibility for a second. They bring it back. Kyle Higgins, what are you doing? Plus, he had some personal stuff going on. So,
yeah.
Do you have anything else to say about Kyle?
Nope.
By the way, you can get the Kyle music. Did you ever look into that? That jazz?
I didn't. I probably would have if the series kept going. Not that it.
See, you're one of the reasons it got canceled. You didn't support his music.
There were some issues of Cowl that were really, really good.
I know you hated 6.
I know. No, I wasn't even going to say that I hated 6, but there were some issues just with the main art that I was like, oh man, that's a good issue. Issue I think was 5 that he killed off that guy. That was good. Issue 10 and 11, no, 9 and 10, awesome. This big fight scene. The one thing and this isn't a hate, it's just one of those things I'm noticing since you brought up Cowl, that they were stuck, they were spinning their wheels. They were stuck in the spot that these characters have these powers, but they never really got to use them.
Yeah.
And I get that was the point, was that, we're more than just these superheroes. It was I wanted to see a little more, hey, this is, even if they did
give us the boss battle.
Yeah.
They were like these retired heroes that were done being crime fighters. Yeah, but we never got the second part of that story where they're like, no, we need to use them.
Yeah, and I guess that's something I wish I would that there would have been more hint to, because I think that would have given that oomph to let's keep going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was. That's one of those books I think
Got canceled too soon.
Came out a little too early.
Yep.
Like if it would have came out around now, I think it would have had.
Be very successful.
It would have been. I think it was. When was it? Like 2 years ago.
That's about 2-3 years ago.
So I mean, not that it's too long ago, but I think social media now, a lot of people are more behind the idea of like a Patreon or doing something to support something on the back end and doing like paying ahead for something. So I think it would have survived now if it just came out.
Yeah.
My one of my loves, actually kind of hints on what Alex was saying. More broad term, but still, I do like when you get a image book, there's no compromise. This is a true vision. Like that's their story. I never once feel like, I think they wanted to do this, but they couldn't. You never get that at all. It's always like, this is what this whole team wants to tell. This is a story that they put pen to paper. This is a story that they pitched and they actually want to tell. Wasn't always that way. Actually, when Robert Kirkman pitched The Walking Dead, they did not believe in zombies as a seller. So, you know how he originally pitched Walking Dead? Have you heard of that story?
Mm-mm.
Where he came into them and was like, okay, so there's zombies on the earth and these people are trying to survive and stay alive. The people who act, the thing that actually put the zombies on the planet are aliens. Aliens puts to clear all the humans of the world, and then they would take over the world. And so they're like, oh, that's cool. People like aliens because the zombies didn't sell back then. And then they would always ask me like, hey, where's the aliens at? I don't see any hints. And he's like, oh, you wait. He's like, when I reveal it, you're gonna be like, oh shit, it's gonna be like Usual Suspects. You'd be like, oh shit, that's all that shit you were talking about. And then it finally got to a point where it was like a huge seller. And then he was like, yeah, there's no aliens. And that's why if you ever got the actual issue, it's not in the compendiums, issue 75. It's an issue about where Rick has a dream. It's in full color, has a dream, and it's aliens invading. Well, anyways, so you get a true vision. So like now when you pitch something, you can pitch Royal City and be like, it's just a story about this family trying to, figure out how to go on with life. And they're like, okay, it sounds good. Jeff Lemire. You can put it together, or you can get a story, the opposite side of the spectrum. You can get Autumn Lands. Oh, we want to do a magic story with animals. And they're like, oh, that's cool. So when you pitch a book, it's not going to be any kind of editorial interference. It's not going to be, hell, half the time they don't even have an editor unless they hire one, because you do everything yourself. So like, I think Lazarus has an editor, but something like Royal City, that's just a Lemire. That's all he's doing.
And basically, the main editor of any image books is Sean Mankiewicz. So,
Mankiewicz?
Yeah, is that his last name? Is that how you say it?
I don't think actually you don't get an editor unless you want one. He's
like the editor on most of the image books.
No, they don't have editors.
I've seen him on like editing like Horizon, Walking Dead. What other? There's a couple other image titles that
they might provide them if you want them, but I know I've read Robert Kirkman interviews saying that they don't want an editor, they don't need one.
Well,
it's a cost.
Maybe he's not the editor, but he's something. He and Mankiewicz is on every single letter hacks of Walking Dead.
Yeah, so maybe he's the editor for them, but he's not for everything.
Oh, you just said Robert Kirkman said there's no editor.
Anywho,
Alex, what's something you hate about Image Comics?
I've already mentioned that I love this book series, but Southern Bastards gets delayed a lot.
Buddy, let me join you here. Delayed missing books. Number one hate. Not number one hate, but it's one of my hates. The first one I have on my list here.
And say, honestly, there's books that I'm missing out on reading because they don't come
Southern Bastards, Sex Criminals, You Get Bitch Planet, which doesn't ever come out. Autumn Lands, I don't know when's the last time it came out.
A couple months ago.
That's the thing, though. It's like...
Goddamn, took 5 months just to put issue 5 out.
Yeah, once that... And they didn't even have a date for the next one, do they?
Yeah, no.
But that's the thing, is like, since they do everything themselves, it's up to them to get everything going and get it out. And what you get is, you can get like 2-3 issues, and then who knows if you ever see it anymore. Mm-hmm. So every once in a while, like, books just end, like Hal. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing, is like, when you get invested in this, it's not like you're not invested in Batman, where you're like, this is always going to be something.
Yep.
I'll decide when to drop this book.
If nothing else, there'd be a filler team to come in to do Batman.
Yeah.
Batman has to come out.
This, you make it Southern Masters would be like, well, let's see what comes out this year. I think 3 issues came out last year, Southern Masters.
I think so.
3 over 12 months. That's like 1 every 4. Good math.
I was just going to tell you that. Wow, you are good at math.
So what else? I mean, I don't want to.
No, I mean, pretty much what you're saying. That's my. If nothing else, I hate the fact that I want Southern Bastards to come out. I want Sex Criminals to be. I want it to be a monthly book because that's something I looked forward to having. It's a book that I look forward to reading. That I get that, and not to throw Jason Aaron under the bus, he's a busy man. He's got Marvel things he has to be doing. He's got. Maybe he's not sure what to do with Southern Bastards. Maybe he's not sure what he wants to do with The Goddamned. But it's just one of those things that I look forward to these books coming out, and my comic book library is missing out not having these books in their stack.
The last issue of Lazarus, actually, that's why it didn't come out for a while, because Greg Rucka said he didn't know how to do it. He's like, I don't know where to write this. Like, he didn't know how to write that issue. So it took him a long time to figure it out. And then by that point, Michael Lark needed a break. So now they're on a break. But also it's like, it is a double-edged sword because it's like, do you really want them to force a book out then? Because then it's like, no, because then it's not going to feel like an actual issue. But then you get what you said, like Jason Aaron's doing Marvel work. So that pays the bills.
Yeah, you don't want it to be on the cutting room floor though either. Like you're never going to see it.
Yeah, I think
it's
so.
Like the back burner.
I love that some writers figure out that they're too busy, so they decide, like a Rick Remender or a Jonathan Hickman, say, I'm not going to do Marvel and DC stuff anymore. I'm going to focus on these books. And then you get somebody who, like Rick Remender will write like 6 to 12 issues ahead of time and be like, I want to make sure that I can take a vacation and not be like worried the whole time, being like, I'm going to delay my book. Yep. And have planned breaks like Brian K. Vaughan does to make sure that it's always on time. That book's never been delayed. It's always on a schedule. So, it works, but you're dependent on who's that team. Do they know what they're actually doing? Garrett?
Do you hate stuff?
What do you hate?
So this is rare, but I hate when there's creative changes for like the teams, like saying like they're different artists. Rarely, it never happens with writers, but like when an artist will change on an image book, and it's only happened to me a couple of times when that's happened, and it just makes me mad because like my whole concept of image is like these writers and artists are signing on together. And it's not books you get like Horizon, they changed the artist. That book they used to get by Alex Cott. I can't remember what it's called. The werewolf one.
Oh, Wolf. Yeah.
Wolf, yeah. Like that first arc was awesome. You get to the second arc, that was the shittiest art I've ever seen in my life. Like it really took me out of the whole book, and we dropped it like right away. We're like, why would we get this POS? Yep. So I guess I'm still kind of bitter about that.
I forgot all about that.
It's very small. But I've noticed it like, and I read Spawn now, and I get that's like one of the longest fucking comic book series of all time. But the artist changed on that quite a bit, and it's like, it's kind of like I try to picture these things being in a trade, and like how fucking disorienting. Like Secret Empire, if you read that in a trade, like how fucking confused would you be when you're like, is this a flashback? Oh, this is the main story, but it's different art. Like okay, like that's what I think would happen. So I hate that. Not saying that it happens all the time. Usually it doesn't. But I like to think that, when there's a team, like they're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
That
it's their vision.
It's not just the writer's vision, it's the writer's and the artist's vision. I feel way more comfortable with both being on, as a unit as opposed to just one.
I don't think that's ever happened to me on an image book. It's going to happen here in a second because Seventh Attorney Opinion's not going to do the art anymore.
What?
Yeah, he's not doing the art anymore.
Oh,
that book will probably be getting dropped.
Why I like that book.
Who's doing the art?
I don't know. But still,
it's fucking whatever the guy.
But even like The Walking Dead started with a different artist.
Than it is now, Tony Moore.
Yeah, Tony Moore now.
But at least if they find somebody that actually can do the book justice, that's fine. But if you give me shit when I had greatness, you're getting dropped.
I shouldn't say anything about dropping a Rick Remender book.
What are you talking about?
I don't. Even though I talk a good game about one to drop low, probably ain't gonna happen.
I don't think Rick Remender would find a shitty artist that replace.
That's the thing is like he's worked with some of the best artists. I don't think he knows a bad artist to work with. I'll go next because actually we skipped ahead. I'll go my second love of Image Comics. The quality of the books, they know how to. I don't ever feel like I pick up an Image comic and feel like I waste the money. Paper Girls, good stock. Saga, good stock. Like everything, like it's crafted to perfection. Usually.
Damn, I even saw that word coming.
That's because I let it roll out. But you see, like Kill or Be Killed, like the way it's laid out is perfect. But, Black Monday Murder is perfect. So I do like it's like the true vision of it is even to the point of paper stock. Like, it's what kind of paper stock do you want? How do you want it to feel? How many pages do you want? And it's just like, whenever I get an Image book, it just feels like I'm getting that money's worth. Like, I don't feel ripped off ever. Right. Even if like I end up being like, I don't like this series. I never feel like, I still like when I keep those issues because I'm like, this is good. Like, and when you get a Marvel book and it's like shitty quality, or DC's fine usually, but even DC books, like it doesn't feel like Image. Feels more like almost like a mix between almost a book. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not magazine quality shep paper, but it's more than a comic. You know what I mean? It's the quality of it. I like good things designed well.
Yeah.
I like a good design work. Alex, what else do you love?
The things you say sometimes make me laugh. Okay, now to counter what Garrett had said for one of his hates, one of my favorite things about Image, though, and I love this, is when they do have the same team. When the team stays together. Rick Remender and Wes Craig on their Deadly Class. Holy shit, that book is fucking awesome. Jason Aaron and Jason Latour, when they do Southern Bastards, when it does come out, is aces. And the fact that these teams have stayed together through 27 issues on Deadly Class and, many more to come. And Southern Bastards is at least 16 issues in and has stayed the same team.
East to West?
East of West with Hickman and Dragata. These teams are so good and they make this book so amazing because they stayed together.
Fuck yeah, Walking Dead. Charlie Allred's been on that whole thing besides that first arc, I believe.
Yeah, issue 7's when he started.
And so what makes some of these books so good, other than the perfection on their card stock, is just the fact that these teams are so dedicated to these books and to their readers that they stay together.
Actually, during All Out War, he got a little help. But, like 2 issues came out a month, so he needed help.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean. That's what I think I love too, and I think that's why Garrett says he hates it, because like in my head, especially like you, Prashal style.
Of course.
When I see like, Rick Remender and Opeña are going to be doing Seventh Eternity, I'm like, those two are making that book. Like those two are much, and they're both collaborating on that book. It's not like Rick Remender's doing a book and he hired Opeña to join him.
Right.
They're both collaborating on that book, so that when you do get a new person, you're like, what the fuck's this?
Yeah.
Where's Opeña at? Is he still going to be a part of this book? Is his vision still going to be in here, or are we moving away from that now? So you're right. Like most of the time, I would say 90%, 95, 96, 97. Yeah. You're going to have those two on it.
I'd say most teams stay together. I know there's the few.
2, 3 sometimes.
You know it.
You got Brightweister. Sticks with Sean Phillips and Eddie Brubaker. Garrett, what else do you love?
I love that there's no ads, or if there is, they're at the very end. And so I can read the whole story all the way through without any interruptions. You know what drives me fucking nuts thinking about it is like Secret Empire. You open that fucking front cover, the first thing you see is a fucking ad before you even start the story. I'm just like...
It's like watching a commercial before you watch your TV show.
Yeah, you turn the first page and you're like, okay.
I think,
this is your premiere book and now I have to see this shit right away.
You know what I don't get? And I don't know, I guess I don't know what their, how much they make per issue. But like Image Comics, if they can afford to not have ads and sell it at $2.99 sometimes without ads, like Saga, why is Marvel charging me $2.99, $3.99 and they always have ads? Like, how much are the ads really bringing in?
Shitty stock quality.
Like, what are all the corners they're cutting? They can't have, like, their event books just being ad-free. You know what I mean? And tell, like, a unified, clear story. I know, it's business. I understand.
Honestly, that's the one thing, is it's business. This makes money. If nothing else, they make money from putting ads in the book.
But that's what I mean. I understand how, like, Image must not make much money off the actual issues. the trades must be where they make their money. And like
Yeah.
Marvel obviously has to put ads in trades, otherwise who would buy that shit?
But Image is one of those things that it's kind of what I said is dedication to your readers. It's dedication to these people who they get this book for your work. It's not due to the ads.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with you. That's one thing I love. What do you have an Image book that has ads in it? I never see ads in any of my books.
I guess like at the end of it, I see Roughneck and I see
ads for other books, but
Yeah,
I never
that's
see
what I
like
mean.
I never see an ad for like Captain Crunch.
Oh no, but I still consider like ad pages for new books still an ad.
Yeah, that's I know.
I mean,
too,
if that was in the middle of the story, I'd still be like,
but I'd rather see
really?
that than like
I
know
know.
for Harley Davidson. Like I'm always like, what the fuck? Who's reading comics? Like fuck Harley. All right, I'm on it.
Right. I just mean I like to read the story consistently without interruption.
What are we now? Second Hate. This one is if I'm gonna say any of these, it's second on the list, but it's probably my number one hate. Not enough variety for me. I hate that every time I get an Image book, I'm always like, okay, what's the twist? There's always some sort of like sci-fi or supernatural twist. Like there can't be a book like Royal City is one of the only books, at least maybe I'm not reading the actual books, that's like just a story about people. Or like, why can't they ever tell a story about, like when that book came out, what's the book called about the moonshine? Is it called Moonshine?
Moonshine.
Like I was interested in that book because I thought it was going to be like,
gangsters and moonshine.
Prohibition era, like it's going to be actual like historical fiction. And they're like,
Werewolves.
but they're werewolves. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, come on. Like three was fucking excellent. That was historical fiction.
That's good.
About the Romans and the
Spartans.
Spartans and who else?
Oh, I don't think it could have been the Romans. They were real. But it was Spartans up against...
Spartans were real? What the fuck are you talking about?
Spartans were real?
Yeah, it's real
The same book?
Yeah.
3?
He and I read 3.
Of Moonshine?
No. We're talking about 3. 3 is the book title. Is 3.
Oh,
There's
sorry. For us people that know what the fuck you're talking
3
about.
people got away from the Spartan army. Actually, 2 of them... One of them used to be a Spartan, right? I mean, they're still Spartans, I guess, but... Yeah, it was a good book.
Nice. It's like you say Moonshine, then 3. I was like,
Sorry,
I read issue 3.
not
There was
issue
no
3.
Romans
Not
or
issue 3.
Spartans.
The book series called 3. It was a 5-issue mini.
Oh, well, look at that. Spartans are real.
The weird thing, he didn't show me that they were real.
You need to look it up. Look it up on your own phone.
Probably just going to get 300.
Do you really think they were fake?
No. But I know they're not around now. It's a past.
No shit. I said it was historical fiction.
Yeah. Fake. Look at that. Fuck you. It's fake. You just said fiction.
But
fake
even like
shit.
Kill or Be Killed, and they put that demon part in it. Like that was a good book, and I was like, they're like, but there's a demon in it. And I was like, come on.
Yeah.
But now it's better because maybe he's not real. But
Yeah,
like
maybe.
but we get like
real.
there's never a book that's like like that's why I love Criminal because it's just like a crime book.
God, that's a good book.
We need more.
I wish
we need
that
more
would
stuff
come
like
out.
that.
I wish
That's
that would
actually
come
like
out.
I don't need something that's 100% realistic, but I need something that quit like having some sort of supernatural or sci-fi tie-in.
But it could, I guess for me, Criminal would be one of those books when you read those little the trades. Holy shit, those are so fucking good.
Yeah.
Man, I could read those all day.
I'm serious. At Marvin_Sagor on Twitter. If there's some Image books that are like have none of that stuff that I'm missing, send me some recommendations. I'll get it. Because actually, I really love those kind of books. You know what was good about that? That Zero book by Alex Scott. That was good. That didn't have anything like that. It was just like a war book. Stuff like that I like. It's like because then I know not what to expect, but like I don't know. It for something at least for me. Like once you add that other element, then I'm like, okay, this is like a comic book. Now we're being crazy. Now we're getting a little weird.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like if it's Criminal, for some reason for me it means more. I don't know why. Maybe it's because that's the kind of like TV shows I like. Like one of my favorite shows is The Wire. So it's like and all that is like cops in Boston, criminals in Boston, not Boston, Baltimore.
The thing though with liking Criminal, and it's just one of those things that I think for me when you get those people who are writing even like Lazarus. Rucka's doing a lot of looking into stuff, getting real facts towards it. I mean, I'm sure for 3, there was a lot of facts that were taken going, this is how it would have been. Hickman, when he's doing Black Monday Murders, he's looking into stuff that happened in the 20s and the 30s, and now how it would be corrupted into today's stuff. So it's all the work and the dedication that they're putting towards making the book.
That's the thing is like I like Black Monday Murders, but at least for me, I know probably it wouldn't sell at all. But I would like to see an actual historical fiction book that is like
Based on the real
the Wall
events.
Street. That's about Wall
Like
Street.
nonfiction.
Yeah, that is like, The Big Short. If it was like The Big Short, the comic, I'd be like, oh, fuck, I'll get that. If we had, what was the other book I was just thinking of? What did you just say?
Black Money Murders, Lazarus.
Lazarus. Like Lazarus is great because of that, because it's so rooted in real science that for me it doesn't feel like science fiction. It feels like science fact.
Whoa.
Alex, what else do you hate?
Now it's not necessarily a delay, but for me it's I hate Marvin. I think you used to get this book at least. The first 2 issues was Surface by I think it was Alice Cott, right? And the book became canceled, and I had no idea that it was canceled until 2 years later that the book hasn't come out in 2 years. I'm assuming it's canceled. So it's, for me, hate the fact that I look forward to a book that's not coming out because it's been canceled. But it's
Is that a
never been
problem with the
officially
image,
canceled.
though, or is it a problem with old man Alex doesn't know how to use the internet?
No, because I did look it up, and I don't remember ever seeing that it got canceled. Because at the end of issue 4, it just goes, "Oh, to be continued." Oh, okay. Well, I'll wait for it to come out.
What issue came out? 1 and 2?
No, it's 1 through 4. I remember those covers like it was yesterday. Blue, green, yellow.
Oh yeah, I guess only 4 issues came out.
Boom, bitch. By the way, my word tonight is boom. Used to be fantastic. Boom. I think I've said at least 1,000 times tonight.
Yeah, there's not even no news about it. You're right. There's no news about it being
Douchebag.
canceled. It just says
No, because I thought, oh, he's going on to other stuff. Maybe he's just taking a break from it. And I thought, oh, it's the usual monthly hiatus.
You know what? I don't know why I'm making fun of you for this, because my next one actually might tie in a little bit to that. So we'll see.
So that's I actually only had 1 hate written down. Then I got to think about Surface. Where the fuck is that book at?
But that's a symptom of if somebody not actually know how to connect with their fans and like inform them of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it depends on who it is. Like if it's Greg Rucka, he'll let you know.
Oh, I know.
But if it's somebody like Alice Cott, I don't think I've ever seen it. Is he on Twitter even? I don't think I've ever seen him say anything. There's certain people like that I know. I know Ed Brubaker is very vocal on Twitter. Jonathan Hickman is probably the best person you can follow on Twitter. Follow him at Jonathan Hickman. I don't know if that's his handle. Search it. Greg Rucka, they're like very vocal. So like if something were to happen with their books, like Greg Rucka, like that's why I knew he was. I mean, he put it in his comic, but I knew before. I didn't know before. He said on the internet. He had a Tumblr thing.
He and our bros, we just talk about
He loves Tumblr for some reason. But like, but like some people, I've never heard one say anything. So, Garrett,
So is this our third hate or is our second hate?
So
Second
Second hate going on to third love?
Yep.
yeah, I'll be the third of love after you're doing your second hate.
Okay. Well, what if this last one's a love? Well, the second and third one's a love hate.
No, we
Or should I
said that
say
couldn't
that?
happen because Marvin didn't like my love hate.
Oh, really? Okay,
Wait,
fine.
what did you have?
The hiatus thing, the breaks.
Oh,
I like the fact that there's a break, but I also hate the fact that there's a break.
So this is a hate.
Sure.
okay.
Yeah.
So, well, then I can't justify the other
By the
half
way, I
of
don't
this
think I ever
side.
vetoed that.
Okay, if you didn't veto it, then
You
I'm
can
going to
do
do
it.
it. So my love hate.
I didn't veto it. Let's rewind to before the show happened. I just said that's kind of weird that I laughed.
Is it
at
going to
the
have a
idea.
love hate? No.
I laughed at the idea. I laughed because I thought
No.
it was so Alex to be like, fuck, I hated the books don't come out. But why don't they come out? Because I want to read them.
Yep.
Or no, why aren't they coming out? Good though.
I'm a South Dakotan. We're mad at everything.
I want to save some money. And then he'll get mad being like, where's Southern Bastards at?
Hey,
and then,
you agree. Where's it been for the last 5 months?
And then if a book all of a sudden is like coming out twice a month, he's like, whoa, too much. Slow down.
I'm never happy. Leave it alone.
Well, what's your love hate?
Okay. Just don't fucking
This is
jump
tied,
me.
right? This is your 3 and 3.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is
no,
your 3 and 3? Your 2 and 3?
This is your 2 and 2.
I got another hate.
2 and 3.
So don't jump me. But I love hate the Mark Miller short arc.
I like that too.
Okay?
It's not on
So
my list, but I like it.
get that fucking thing out of your eye. I can't focus. So I'll say what I hate about it first because that's technically the round was. What I hate about the Mark Miller short arc is like you only get 4 or 5 issues and it's over. And I feel like sometimes that there's not enough story for it to contain itself in that one series. But I know, like, for the Jupiter saga, he's gone back and done other things. But why can't you just do, I know he's doing so many fucking projects and that's why he's rich as shit. But still, as a fan, I get in that aspect, like when I'm reading a story, I don't want to just stop reading it when it's, I want to keep going. So on the love end of things, I love those arcs because it is a contained story, and I don't have like once it's done, I know there's not like sequel bait, or there might be, but it doesn't affect. Like there's a main story for this arc.
Yeah.
There's not like he's not dicking around like saying, "Hey, this is all Easter eggs for the next arc." This is the arc. Maybe there's a little cliffhanger at the end here that'll get you ready for the next one. But
the thing is, you never know unless you read his back matter. Like this guy would never know because he doesn't read the back matter stuff.
I have you guys.
Mark Miller doesn't have back
Yeah, he does.
matter.
Miller World. His is a 2-page thing, Miller World, where he pitches.
That's the biggest bullshit ever. You're never gonna learn anything about.
No,
the
that's
book.
where he said there's going to be an Empress 2. Like whenever he announces new stuff, it's in there.
Hey, did you
Okay,
ever read
one
Emperor
time-
7?
I never found it. I don't know where it is.
One time I saw him write a letter, yeah, and it just happened to be the book that I was holding.
He's huge on Twitter too. You might want to follow him on Twitter. That's why.
Maybe I should.
I actually do love that too, and I understand what you're saying. Like, I do like that they're short arcs because I do like it being like, I know this 6 issues is going to tell one story and I'll be good, but also it feels like it's kind of like the dynamic, or not dynamic, but diameter thing that he set for himself. That now he's like every story is 6 issues, but sometimes it's more than that, and he feels the need to be like, no, it's 6. And that's why for Empress he decided
Empress is 7.
Empress he was like, we'll put one more issue in there. I think maybe he learned that being like everything can't be 6. But he's trying to do short things. So I understand, but like you're right. Sometimes it's like, I think he feels confined being like, I said I was only going to do 6 issues. Now he starts to tell and he's like, this is more than 6. I'll just do another one. You know what I mean? But it's also like for you said, like you said, you never know about it. Like I didn't know about Chrononauts 2 until like 6 months after that last issue came out. I was like, there's Chrononauts 2 coming out.
I thought we heard that they were coming out shortly after that first one was made.
No, when Reborn was coming out, then they said
then he said,
Chrononauts
"Oh, really?
2 was
Man.
coming out."
Dude, I can see the future apparently.
I agree with you there. That's a good one. Were you loving or hate right now? No,
You're
love.
in Ireland Love. He did Third Love.
You know what, Garrett? Actually, we could have tied this baby in. Number 3 for me. Fantastic miniseries. I think Image has. They're ongoing. Sometimes only good. I think they Image is better, and this also pertains to like creators, like you said. It's better when it's a mini and it's contained, and they know we have 6 issues, 12 issues, 20 issues to tell a story. When they have a definitive
I see
beginning
what you're
and end.
saying. So it doesn't have to be a mini. It could just be, here's a story within these.
When they know, like, hey,
issue
we want to
number.
tell a 32 issue story. Hey, we want to tell a 50 issue story. I don't hate, but I think it's better when they know rather than when they're just like, this is ongoing. And then eventually they're like, we're going to end this around 35. And then it's like, well, then it feels like it was ramping up. And this is not, I can't really think of an Image one right now. I think maybe Black Science, because it felt like it was ramping up and he's like, I'm ending this in 12 issues. And then we're like, well, it really doesn't feel like there's an ending in 12 issues. Now, I know you're going to get there probably over the course of the next year, but I didn't really get that from reading what I've read so far. So I think it's better. I do like the Mark Miller thing because I know being like, okay, I can see the story plot structure in the 6 issues. I know what to expect. East to West, I think he kind of hinted that there's going to be 3 years. I think we even speculated.
I think you and I thought that there's going to be 3.
Yeah, I think it was hinted at, but we didn't know for sure. And I think that might be the best because in the story, it makes sense that it'd be 3 years. So like when he said, oh yeah, it's 3 years, we're like, oh yeah, of course. It was not, but also I do like the mystery of not knowing when something's going to end, but also sometimes it's like, you get that Cal thing where you're like, well, what's happening here? Are we ending soon or what happened? And then you're like over.
I'm one of those people. I love when books are minis because then
Well, like Velvet. We didn't know Velvet was ending.
Yeah, that was one of those. Oh, you told me issue 14 was
You
last.
read the last issue and you're like, whoa, that's the last issue?
No, I hadn't even read it. It was 3 months later. You told me it's like, yeah, it's done. Oh, well, that explains why it's not coming out.
Yeah. Or even like Surface. You didn't know.
I didn't know that was coming.
Alex, what's the last thing you love?
The thing that you kind of already mentioned it, but for me, it's the passionate about their work, so it's not half-assed.
Yeah.
The team.
That's true.
Like a lot of my thing was just team related. That I love how much these people are put into their books and how much it's their thought, it's their want, it's what they've come together to make.
I think a part of that is that you need the hustle. Like they're putting up all the money because if I understand correctly, Image doesn't pay them anything until they sell. So like all the pre-stuff, like leading up to it when they make the issues and stuff like that, all the time they have to take to write and draw it, like the whole time that leads up to that,
All the work they do, they're
are
not
doing
getting
it for
paid for.
free until issues start hitting and they start getting the the profits from it. And then when the trades hit, like some books don't sell until they hit trade. Some don't barely sell in issues, and then the trades where they make their money. I know Saga sells way better in trade than it does in issues. I know for a fact that what else is there's some books that like don't sell until they get to trade.
I'm sure there's some books that are just better as a trade though, because then you've got everything right there in front of you, like the fade out.
Plus like the audience, the fade out. But like the audience, like for Saga, is like people who like go to libraries, like. It's a different audience. It's not comic book. It's not a Wednesday Warrior audience. It's like people outside, mainstream. It's a mainstream audience.
I mean, I can tell you once I get the rest of the few issues of Saga I need, that's gonna be one of those binge read. I'll read all 43 or 42 in a day just because I have to read it.
Then you'll find one of the best issues of the year. Saga 42.
Because I haven't read that yet. I'm caught up on everything else other than.
Sorry, I hijacked your. What were you going to say?
No, you're fine. That's that.
Oh, yeah, we talked about it when I talked.
So you already. I was going to cut in and go. Oh, that's my number 3. I thought
that kind of loops into everything though. Like what Gary was saying, when you have these two people being like, "We're going to make this book," and that's something I like about Image. Also, it's on my list. Obviously, because I already said all mine. But I also do like that. When you have somebody pitching something like, let's say Secret Empire for one reason. It's all Nick Spencer, like on Twitter, on interviews and stuff like that. Like he's the guy talking about it. Like, here's what I came up with. Here's, like telling his vision and stuff like that. When you get an Image book and you see interviews and stuff for it, I always hear like Lazarus. I always hear Greg Rucka going, me and Michael thought of this. Me and Michael are working on this. And it is, that very collaborative.
That they're sharing the credit.
And that's the best comics is when they know, like, and if you ever read Greg Rucka's scripts, kind of like reading his scripts, there's very different ways you can write comic strips. You can be the Alan Moore being like, here's what I want in this panel. Here's what you got to draw. Here's the dialogue. Put this exactly like you're very, like, this is my vision, basically. But Greg Rucka is more like, I read a script he wrote for Captain America. One-shot issue, and it's like, hey, with this page, here's what I'm thinking of. If you think of a better way to do it, go ahead and do it. I can send you some pictures so we can get some accuracy on how this actually looks. But this is what I'm kind of going for. And then I forgot what it was. There was some movies like, have you ever seen that movie, like that scene? It's kind of the mood that we want to go for here. But if it's something that really doesn't work for you, or you think there's a better way of doing it, just go ahead and do it. Like, putting that trust in your artist because you're both working together. That's the reason why you asked him to do the fucking book with you. So he knows that, especially with Michael Lark, I guarantee you, I've never read a script from him doing Lazarus, but I guarantee you for like especially those fight scenes. Remember that issue with that whole fight scene with
Sonya and
I guarantee you he was just like, hey,
Forever.
Michael, 4 pages of fight scenes, do what you want.
Yep.
And that was all Michael Lark.
That was one of my favorite issues of Lazarus.
You're right. That's the best thing about Image.
Yeah.
Is like, I know it's Michael Lark and Greg Rucka doing Lazarus. It's not Greg Rucka's Lazarus. It's this whole team.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so upsetting when it's like, hey, Michael Lark's not on the book anymore. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, he's part of the reason why I like that book.
Is Rucka writing the 6 degrees or the 6?
Yeah, X66.
Okay.
Yeah, he's writing it. They're just giving Lark a break because he's getting burnt out.
To me, that's kind of like what they did in Jupiter's Legacy, where Quietly needed time to.
Quietly's fucking slow, though.
I know, because we're still waiting for number 5 to come out.
Yeah, Jesus, fuck.
And that was supposed to come out, I think, in December.
Of this year?
No,
Last
last
year.
year.
It's been every month it's gotten pushed.
That's not coming out until like October.
Every month it gets solicited, but it never comes out.
Yeah. So, which is, I mean,
Holy
whatever.
shit. I forgot about that. I thought it was over.
No, the only reason I brought it up is that Volume 2 is still on my... I've read all of it, but it's on my stack that I put my books in after I've read. And it's like, oh shit, that book.
See, for me, I always like I have this box of things I want to read. And I'm like, oh, there's Jupiter's Legacy Volume 2. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not going to read that till the last issue comes out. That's why I started.
Did you read Circle?
No, not yet.
You should read Circle. Do you have Circle?
I have all of it. Yeah.
You should read it. After you're done with the class, go to Circle.
Dude, I have one more issue left of Deadly Class that
Have you
I'm
read-
done with.
Have you read Jupiter's Legacy Volume 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
What's your last love?
I did 3
Oh,
loves.
you don't have any more?
I had my
Okay, let's
last
get on to the
eight,
last 8. My last 8 is something that you kind of brought up, but yours was more for a book that's already coming out. But I hate Image does an Image Expo every year, and then they also do they announce books all the time. Something I hate about Image is sometimes they'll announce a book, being like, hey, this team's getting together to do this book, And sometimes the book never fucking comes out. Like I've never seen the book. And that's also a symptom of like having, them to do the book on their own before it actually hits and then they start making money off it. But there's tons of books. I could gather it together and we could talk about it and I could show you and you're probably like, oh yeah, I remember you told me about that book. And it's like, it never came out. It got announced 3 years ago. It never came out. And that's something that maybe isn't a big deal. It really isn't that big of a deal. But still, like, it's like, why even announce something like that if you're not going to put it out?
Right. It should be in like technically like a movie. It should be in pre-production.
Yeah, you should have like 1 or 2 issues in the can, and then that's when you can announce it. And I know Image has a rule that you have to have 3 issues ready before you can put in solicits. So I don't know why Jeepers Legacy keeps putting in the solicits, but
it says June 5. You got 1, 2, 3 out monthly.
Well, but even what's the difference between a solicit and a like what Frontier did with that one page, the little teaser?
I was just an ad.
Okay.
I just maybe have me just put it in stuff. Okay. But yeah, so it's like every once in a while, like they announce something and they're like, nope. And then I never see it. So what's your last hate, Alex?
This may be less of a hate on Image, but it's due to Image. I hate the fact that Image books are so good. That I actually look. Just hear me out. That I look forward to these books so much.
He's nagging Image Comics right now. Go ahead.
But they're so good that I actually hate it because I end up wanting to get these books. I end up wanting to spend more money, which is great for those people and probably even good for me that I'm getting good quality stuff. But Jason Aaron's on books, Rick Remender's on books, Hickman's on books, Matt Fraction's on books, Brubaker's on books. There's all these great teams. That I hate the fact that they're all on this series because now I want to get these fucking books.
So my hate kind of dovetails off yours. Like I hate...
It's a good cartoon, DuckTales.
I said Dovetails.
Did you not say DuckTales?
I did not say DuckTales.
He might have said Dove.
That doesn't make any sense.
Shut the fuck up. All right. So like I kind of hate Image for like... I don't hate Image, but I hate the fact that like... other companies can't do what Image can. So I guess that's more of like a love for Image, but whatever. I don't care. I'm using it as a double negative. Cause like these creative teams are doing so well on Image. Like you wish you could get that on DC and Marvel. I think like DC's starting to figure it out. Marvel, fuck no, they're never going to figure it out.
They were pretty excellent. Around
I guess
New
like
52 DC, Marvel was knocking out of the park.
I mean, I'm saying with creator-owned direction and like...
Hey, Hawkeye was pretty much what they wanted to
I guess Hawkeye and like Black Widow.
Yeah.
So they have a couple things, some diamonds in the rough.
But you have to gain a certain amount of trust over there for them to be like, yeah, do what you want.
I know, but at the same time, though, like whoever's doing the main events, like let that person actually know what the fuck they're doing before they do it.
You think there would be more... And I think DC now, not before, but I think DC now is more like, what are you doing with this? And then
like
they
more
figure
communication amongst the...
Yeah. And Marvel, it does seem like they're like, they pitch something like he's like, Secret Empire. Cap's actually bad. He's going to help Hydra take over the United States. They're like, all right, cool. We can make it an event. But then he never like, finally tells them everything. He's like, I'm still working it out. They just announced that Secret Empire, they added a 10th issue.
Oh, yeah, I know.
The one weird thing I find about Secret Empire, this will be the last thing I say,
11.5.
is that Captain takes over United States of America, but the whole world shield doesn't just cover America, it covers the whole world. Right. That he's not taking over the whole world.
That's why I said it doesn't make sense. It's like, if you already are exerting some sort of power over the world, and like you have the ability to put shit in water so people follow you, why is it only the U.S.? Like, why aren't you taking over the whole world then?
Well, that's the thing is that Hydra's not just a United States villain; it's a whole worldly thing.
That's what I understand.
So it just bugs me that
I think it's some Nick Spencer is trying to tell some sort of metaphor for the current times. But also it's like just have him take over the world. It makes more sense.
But even the current time things doesn't just affect the United States; it affects the world. So let it affect the world other than just the damn shield.
Going back to what you were talking about, Alex, about your hate.
Why is there a teleporter that we can just get everybody in?
Nightcrawler. That just said?
Yeah, just okay.
Nightcrawler. For some reason in my head, I was like, whoa, Nightcrawler. That's what we should mention. But you said it. That's why I popped in my head. like Nightcrawler. Going back to what you said about there's too many Image books and you don't like to drop them. I think we have had this talk before. I don't know with you. Me and him had. But point out Garrett. So by the way, I don't know why I do visuals for this audio podcast. We've talked about it before. Like if it came down to it, if you only could get one publisher, it would be Image, right? For me, it would be.
Oh, it'd be Image.
It'd be DC.
DC boy.
I could not betray
DC
my
boy?
fucking love. DC
The only
boy.
thing
Mine
I
would be
could-
Image.
the
I
only-
could drop those.
The only thing I would have a hard time dropping would be Batman. Like Batman,
No.
but Batman or Detective.
You have to do it. You'd have to.
But if
drop
I had to do it, Image Comics.
You know why I could
I can
drop
find
any
a
of those
replacement for
books
Batman.
like this? It's because I know they don't end. So I'm just like, I was never gonna get the whole thing anyways. You know, I'm not gonna always get. I'm not always gonna get Batman.
Yeah.
But I can't drop, like Black Monday Murders because I'm like, how does that? I know that's gonna end. So I need to know how that ends. You know what I mean?
suppose.
So I can drop Batman, Flash, all that stuff because I know it's like
They'll always be
when I
there.
die, that's still going to keep going. I'm never going to know the end
The
of that
character's
whole
still
thing.
going to be 30 years old.
He's still going to be 30, baby, because he has something will happen. He'll get refreshed. I want to see old Batman. Why don't they do that story? Like, let him get old for a little bit. Let him get old for like 5 years, and then why am I opening this fucking book?
Rejuvenate.
They did that.
And then do something.
Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, one book.
It
Two
was
books.
actually 3.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, right.
Let's do a Thomas Wayne. When he's old.
Oh, you mean
They did that too?
Flashpoint?
Flashpoint. But let's do that for 5 years.
Flashpoint Batman.
That'd be a good book. That'd be, more
you mean
than
a 5-year storyline?
Do Batman Beyond, but like before he's too old.
Right when he's
Still
transitioning
Batman. Yeah,
to using the
he's
future
still
tech?
he's still Beatman.
I just want to know how Batman, does Batman just go out and go, I'm going to try this new move on someone? I know he's the master of all fighting styles.
What do you think Alfred's doing?
But I just want,
Alfred, get in the fucking gear. And he's like,
What do you
yes,
think
sir.
there's going to be like
now,
new
Alfred,
fighting
this
styles?
is going to hurt a lot.
And then Alfred puts in the gear. He's like, Alfred, where's my fucking shake? Let's get the shake beforehand. Let's get it ready. So that when we're done, I can drink the protein shake. He's like, the fuck, am I your butler? What's going on here?
Sir, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just gets
You know
bitch
what's
slapped.
weird? It's reading that All-Star Batman where he's calling him my son, and then we read this issue where he's like, Alfred, take the
You're my
teacup, you
bitch.
fuck.
You're my bitch.
that fucking leaf is still on the ground.
Yeah, he's cleaning up,
Yeah,
and Bruce is not even saying anything. Like, he's not even being like, Swamp Thing, what the fuck are you doing? And
Yeah,
Alfred has
you
to
have
clean up.
expect Alfred to like crawl across the Swamp Thing and Bruce Wayne to put his like feet up on Alfred's back.
Plus, what an asshole Swamp Thing is, because I'm pretty sure he could suck all the thing up by just being like, oh, I'm sorry, I left it there. You know what I mean? But he's
Yeah.
like, pick up my
Fuck
shit.
it.
Basically, he's like, yeah, I dragged
my
in some
bitch
fucking
too.
dirt, pick it up.
You got a
see you,
job.
Batman, so you can help me find my dad.
Wednesday Comics 605 at gmail.com. Email us what you love or hate about Image Comics, or find us on Twitter at Alex Mastrollo. That is AlexProtStrollo. Follow him on Twitter. Let him know what you love and hate about Image Comics. Let him know if you agree with him in any of those points. Garrot2188, that's GROOT2188. Let him know if you agree with him in any of those points. Me,
Wink at me,
Marvin,
you douche.
_Salguero, Salguero. Let me know if there's any Image books that I'm missing that pertain to real life stuff. I want a politic books. Where's the politic books? That's the book I
Citizen
need
Jack.
right now.
What?
Is that really nothing? It's just politics?
No, I'm just saying Citizen Jack is, I think,
There's some
I think
twist
it's got
in it.
aliens in it.
Let's see what the fuck.
Whatever that president book, Prez, was for New 52.
That was DC. I want to maybe.
Hey, did you hear anything about Regression from Colin Bunn?
I heard it was good.
Okay.
Tom from A Comic Book Look said it was good. Facebook.com/Wednesday Comics Podcast. Go ahead and like us there. Thank you for all the likes over the last week. SuperCon, everybody that met us, liked us on there. Thumbs up. Find us on iTunes. Rate, review, subscribe. Do me a favor. If you're listening to this show and you haven't, you don't need some sort of Apple phone or anything like that. You have some sort of computer. You can download iTunes.
Boot up the Macintosh.
You can have a PC too. Download iTunes, or you probably have iTunes on there. It probably came preloaded. I think you might be able to do it from the website also. Leave us a rating. If you don't have time for a review, I don't need a review. 5-star rating. Because every time somebody leaves a rating, it puts it in their algorithm and it pushes us to show up on things being like, hey, you like comic books? And then it shows up for them. It helps us out. Leave a rating. You can go to Google Play or Google Play. Go to Google Play and Stitcher Radio. You can find us there. You can do the same things there. Rate, review, subscribe. But I really don't care about those. So, I mean, you might have Android. You might like that. What? Roots of Swamp Thing.com. Go to rootsofswampthing.com for our sponsor, Rainbow Comics and Cards. I already said Facebook.
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, well, they did. So,
Oh, Jesus.
Civil War.
yeah. So go ahead and visit our sponsors there. Let them know. SuperCon again. Thank you. 2017. Enjoyed it a lot. Next year, bring us back. So what? Yeah. So like, what's Alfred like? When does he leave? When do you get fed up with that shit?
You know what? I feel like Alfred's more Batman than Batman ever could be. You think Batman Bruce Wayne gets no sleep? What about fucking Alfred?
I've been noticing that more and more because I've been reading a lot of like old Batman stories and also this current time King one.
Yeah.
He really does a lot of detective work, Alfred. And he's like picking up after him, healing him. And it's like, at what point did Alfred go, deal without me, motherfucker, I'm out.
Right.
And he leaves.
I would love for that to be an arc.
Batman old crippled.
No, just
That's what I mean. Like
solo Batman.
Like Bruce pisses off Alfred so hard, he's like, you fucking do it then.
Or even have Alfred just get kidnapped. I don't know. Have Alfred be pissed at him. Go, fuck you.
What do you think Damien was the whole story? He wasn't even pop in for a second. You got a fucking Swamp Thing in here?
He was hanging out with, he was having a sleepover at John's.
I have a...
Don't they have a dog? The dog wasn't like, what the fuck's this Swamp Thing? What's that guy's name?
Yeah, I would say, not Duke.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, but Titus was fine with, oh, hey, there's a plant. I should pee on it.
Yeah.
I would love to have
Just
seen
chill.
that be a shot where Titus is going to take a whiz on him.
I just want to see Alfred go up to that painting with Bruce and the other Robins and just punch Bruce's face in. Like if it was like a glass cover to it and there's just a crack over Bruce's face but all the kids are still there. Like, fuck you.
I'm your butler of the internet. My name is Marvin.
I don't know where to go from there.
How the fuck did this happen?
Your Swamp Thing's teacup made out of his...
I'm
who knows where.
that weird splooge that you saw at the beginning of the issue.
What
Alex.
was he drinking himself?
I just assumed water
Probably.
from the plant.
But it comes from himself. He drank his own pee.
Like drinking urine.
Yeah.
And I'm the fucking kite from Kite Man.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Kite Man was in this. Oh, that was good. Ready?
I already said my name is Marvin.
I'm Alex.
I'm Garrett.
Hey, everyone, keep turning those pages.